Okay, hey everybody, it is Sunday. It is January 15th, 2017, about 4 o'clock my time, Pacific time. And I want to have a hangout demonstrating to people how you fight back when people flag your channel. And just recently, I've had a numerous amount of flags. I mean, I'm used to getting flags because, my channel is a little bit controversial. Some people can't handle an honest conversation, so they decided to flag my channel. But, I can understand sometimes people might get triggered. I get that. But, the thing is just to walk away. But this particular person I find to be kind of bizarre because a while ago, I had a couple hangouts dealing with this guy named Greg Loucks. And I even made a Fruit in the Ground Creationist series about this guy because this guy was talking about, evolution. He didn't know even remotely what he was talking about. He didn't want to come into a hangout, and so I put him on the Fruit in the Ground Creationist list. I then get this message on one of my YouTube videos, actually two of them, from another Greg Loucks. So supposedly somebody claiming to be Greg Loucks, but not the original guy that I'd really spoken to. And he said, I don't know who you are, and this video is using my name, and therefore it's privacy violation, blah, blah, blah. He comments on my video using his screen name, which happens to be the same thing, Greg Loucks, right? I actually put it in my G+, and I posted it other places showing that I did screen cap this. I do take documentation of these things. So he deleted these comments after he had notified YouTube of a privacy violation. And I had a notification from YouTube saying that my videos may contain private information, to which I responded to them very politely. This person is, one, not the original person I'm referring to. Therefore, you cannot file a privacy issue on behalf of somebody else as per the privacy rules set forth by YouTube. That's number one. Number two, he used his screen name, which happens to be Greg Loucks. That is the only thing I mentioned in my video, was footage from my own videos capping his comments or the other guy's comments. So this guy not only tries to report me for a privacy violation by using an actual screen name that he himself uses, but he deletes his comments too after I notify him that, dude, you're using this screen name. I'm allowed to use your screen name. I found that to be absolutely ridiculous. And worse, and Suda just found out here that this guy claims to be a paleoconservative libertarian, whatever the hell paleoconservative is. Suda, did you find out what that meant?
It's someone who's like holds to the older hardline conservative type stuff.
Older hardline, would that be like
okay?
Reagan or
Google defines it as a person who advocates old or traditional forms of conservatism and extremely right-wing conservative.
Okay, so he's a conservative and he claims to be a libertarian, and he flags my channel for using his actual screen name. How do you claim to be a libertarian and really kind of promoting censorship? I'm just kind of flabbergasted here.
His Google Plus page also lists him as a minister.
Oh, so he's a minister. So I'm wondering if this is the same.
He's the owner, minister, and prayer consultant and volunteer of the Worldwide Prayer Chain.
The Worldwide Prayer Chain.
Yeah. It's his own website, too, so I guess you can go there and log in.
So I wonder if this is the same guy, just under a different, either screen name, or I didn't even look at the other one. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Because
his YouTube channel is his name, too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, this is his handle, right? This is what I'm using. You cannot have a privacy concern if this is your, you're using the information. That's like saying, hey, Steve the Philosophist, you doxed me by using the name Steve.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's also his name on his Twitter. He's got his LinkedIn, but I'm not even going to open that. Come on, that's invading privacy if you open his LinkedIn. His Instagram, it uses the same name there. Let's see.
Oh, I'm going to put the link to join.
Yeah. You use the same name again on Pinterest.
Yeah, I mean,
I would
this is my real name, right? I use my real name.
You don't need to see the guy what he pins, okay? And I'm going to just assume Yelp, Foursquare, Goodreads, VK, IMDb, and Vine are all the same name. In fact, it would be interesting to see what he has on.
So
IMDb.
how do you give away somebody's privacy information if this is the name that they're using? I mean, I'm allowed to comment on people, especially allowed to comment when they leave messages on my video, threatening legal action or threatening to report me to YouTube, which he did, and I did get a notification. But I have told everybody before, I don't stand down to these people. I fight them tooth and nail. I want people to know if they can flag me once, and after that, when they flag me twice and they get shot down, I report them for harassment, which I'm allowed to do because that shows a pattern.
Wow, he has been a member of IMDb for 11 years.
Doing what? Well, anybody can be a member of IMDb.
I know. He rates the movies, apparently.
He's a movie
because he's a videographer and stuff too, so obviously he knows a lot of stuff about film.
Well, he obviously doesn't know much about YouTube, because again, he used his actual name.
He doesn't know much about the internet. He used his actual name.
Yeah. I mean, this is what's funny. Again, this is kind of bizarre because if you look at my other two videos, and by the way, Apologia, Steve the Philosophist Doctor, link is in the comment section of the video. Please come in.
Oh, and here's a shocker. He used
up.
his real name on Facebook, but I didn't look at Facebook.
But he wasn't even. He even said. I mean, let me show you the comment here. I'm gonna screen share this. I'm having difficulty screen sharing, so give me a second.
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was left on one of my videos. Okay, before he deleted it. Matter of fact, I want to make sure he did delete it. So can somebody check on this? This was the video. Fruit in the Ground Creationist 3. If somebody can check on this, I don't see it anymore, so I don't know if I'm blocked or we actually deleted the video. So somebody else can check. I didn't check that I was blocked, so maybe that was the case. But I want to make sure. But so he says, FYI, there is more than one Greg Loucks on YouTube. No shit. I have never had a conversation with you ever. Then why are you responding to me? I have flagged your video, which he did, for privacy violation. You can't call people out like that by name. Yes, I can when that person's the person talking to me. That person who I capped in my video. FYI, I believe in some forms of evolution. What the fuck does that even mean? Some forms of evolution. What is a form of evolution? You have evolution and you don't have evolution. Either something has a change in the population or you don't have a change. What do you mean, some forms? Based upon your video, I believe you are calling this guy out. I never saw this. And by the way, I missed the read more, but he said I never saw this before. That's all. Anything he said. Let me get the doorbell 1 sec. Okay, so I wrote him on another of his comments on my other video, which is no longer there. So I'm assuming that it is gone. And I told him, dude, I'm allowed to use your screen name in my videos. If this wasn't you, then you have no case because you cannot flag a channel that you're not the person being spoken about. I mean, that's just absurd. But the guy actually uses his screen name here, Greg Loucks. So I told him, I said, well, I'm going to have a video. I'm going to have a hangout tomorrow, which would be today, using your name, Greg Loucks, because you used it on my video. And if you do want to report me as a privacy violation, I will report you for harassment. I already fought the first one. I'm not capitulating. I'm not taking down the videos, and I'm not changing the names of them. I am standing up for what we are allowed to do, and if that comes back at me, so be it. But I am not going to back down, and I don't think it will because I annotated very much everything to YouTube and even documented. Look, here is the person's name. No other information was given out about this person. Nothing about his work, nothing about his social security number, nothing about his phone number. I know nothing about this person other than what you just told me, and the guy's name is Greg Loucks. That's it. That's the only thing I know. That's not private information if he's putting it out on his own page, right?
Well, any of the information he puts on his own page would no longer be private. He put it there. He put it out there for the public to see.
I don't think he's aware of this.
So when he puts down where he grew up, where he was born, the current city he lives in, his political views, his myriad list of hobbies, a list of organizations he's a member of,
Well, I noticed he took
put it out there in public. It's no longer private.
He took down. I mean, I think he deleted the video, or he deleted the comment after I told him, "Well, dude, you just commented on my video. Now I can talk about you, right?" And I'm going to talk about him because he left a comment on my video. I'm allowed to respond to that. I'm tired of these people getting triggered. I understand people get triggered. You know what? Walk the fuck away. This is not something for you to be using. These tools you have to report videos are not something to be using for retribution and for your own personal policing of the internet. If something is egregiously wrong, if there is a violation, sure, do what you got to do. But nothing in any of my videos even remotely reach the level of a terms of service violation or privacy violation. And speaking of which, people have been asking about Brenda's situation. I have no freaking clue. Somebody had mentioned, or somebody had some video when she was in Tom's Hangout. She was losing her shit on Shameless. I just can't have her around. I don't know. She said some people said she apologized and felt bad. I don't know about that. She mentions nothing to me except that she's already explained to me why she flagged my videos. That's all I have to go by. Therefore, I can't have her around. That's as simple as that. You know. She's all bitching about the great debate community, how it's full of scum and people, and her and Shamos then started patching it up and having a love fest. But here's the thing. Let me explain to you guys something. Nobody is under any disillusion of what we do in the great debate community. We have two or three reasons most of us are here, right? One, we enjoy it. And two, if the other people on the other side promote misinformation, we have every right to promote good information, right? We have every right to do that. It doesn't make us feel smarter. We don't need to feel smarter. We are smart. We're a bunch of smart people, and there are a hell of a lot of people smarter than me, and I surround myself with smarter people than me for a reason. That's what really smart people do. You find somebody who's smarter than you, and that's who you keep around. Why surround yourself with dumb fucks, right? I mean, that's what they do on the other side. So we're in a known disillusion that we're going to change the world. G-Man. Take a hint. Yeah, G-Man, I mean, well, how can G-Man not surround himself by dumber people? He is the dumbest of them all. I mean...
Well, he could surround himself then with smarter people, right?
Well, he can't find any dumber. Who's dumber than G-Man?
I guess you're right. That he is surrounding himself with smarter people.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, he actually. Wait, does that make him smarter for doing so? That's kind of paradoxical, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a sliding scale. He is at the lower end of the dumb, so it might make him smarter, but it doesn't make him smarter than the people he's hanging around with.
Okay, and he probably doesn't realize he's doing it, so that still makes him stupid.
Yeah, it's the top of the ladder, bottom of the ladder.
But yeah, Shameless was sitting there saying that all these guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
No, we can't hear you.
Shameless was saying that all of these guys want to
do is sit there and... That's fine. Start saying really stupid stuff since you can't hear me, and I'll talk to Freddie. Oh,
I can hear you.
Evening, Jay. You can't hear me.
You're a little roboty.
I'm just yanking Headless. I just yanking Headless's chain.
But this is what Shameless does. I mean, he sits there and bitches about the great debate community. He leaves how many times? It comes and says, "I'll never be back." Then it comes back a couple days later, weeks later, whatever.
Oh, he can't stay away. He's addicted.
Right. I know. I mean, come on.
He's addicted to great debate like he's addicted to KFC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's got their reasons for why they do this, what they, stuff online. We all could be doing different stuff. I do stuff on Facebook. Jade does stuff on Facebook. We talk to a lot of people all over the place. So it's not just isolated in the great debate community. But we enjoy conversations. I don't get out much, so this is my only outlet. But, I run a channel where people can actually discuss these things. It is the most fairest channel out there, really. I mean, for people to sit in Tom's Hangout, no disrespect to Tom, love Tom, you know that. But for them to say, oh, well, the great debate community is falling into crap and it's becoming like the debate coliseum. Well, you're sitting in Tom's Hangout, which is just like the debate coliseum. I mean, let's be realistic. Steve, the link to join is in the Google Plus, my Google Plus, and it's also in the video description link. No. But I mean, I'm just finding this hypocrisy to be funny. Oh, and the doctor had noted, and so did Mr. GBT. You guys want to hear some funny shit? Of course you do, right? Shawn, a good buddy Shawn. Did you know what he said? You're gonna love this. He referred to himself as a retired scientist. Everybody sigh with me at the same time. Okay, Shawn, let me ask you something. What qualifies you to be, one, retired, and two, a retired scientist? You've never been a scientist. You've never worked in the lab. You know very little about actual science. Everything you talk about when it comes to physics is wrong. I do believe that you went to Naval Nuclear Power School. You knew things that only a person who was in nuke school would know, unless you went to the nuke fact thing. But then you would have to know that that's what's being taught. But you got a lot of shit wrong. You don't remember a lot of shit. So I don't really know, how you can say you have a degree in physics when you don't. At best, you would have a degree in nuclear technologies. You obviously don't know the difference, which is kind of surprising. Nathan, you have an understanding of physics. I mean, you've listened to Shawn. Does he even have a basic understanding of physics, in your opinion?
No, for my when I went back to university to study molecular biology, I had to take 2 basic physics classes that deal with radioactive decay rates. And even with those 2 basic classes, I can tell that Shawn has no idea what he is talking about. I'm actually shocked that he got out of nuke school with that much misconception.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, and by the way, I have found this the other day, and I want to show you guys something because really a lot of you have no idea what the fuck the nuke school was really about. So I actually found something online that actually has the curriculum, or basically the curriculum, nuke facts online. Now I can find what I did with it. I want to post you guys this link here, and this is just so they find it again. Oh my goodness. So hard to find stuff. I bookmarked shit too. Nuke facts. Here we go. Let me get to the main page. Okay. So I'm going to post this link in the live feed here. And I want you guys to check out some of this stuff. Okay? This is from Nuke Facts. This is actually the curriculum that was in Nuke School. Okay? You can start with beta, but you can go down to like source multiplication, non-fission neutrons, chain reactions, things like that, reactivity. Go ahead and look through this stuff and tell me if this is not college level stuff. Because what they do is it's about 3 or 4 years of college crammed down into about 2-year program when all is said and done. But I mean, for a lot of you guys that know mathematics and know physics. If you're looking at this information, does this look entry level to you? Does this look basic? I mean, especially like the page on the neutron life cycle model. This right here. This is I had a 4-hour review board just on this question, just about. I mean,
Steve, we can't see it.
I'm not sharing it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why we can't.
You have to go to the link in the live feed.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I will share it if you want. Let me see. One sec.
I'm looking at it, and it's pretty in depth. I mean,
it's not entry level shit, right? It's not
No,
like
not
like
at all.
master's level, but it's pretty high.
I would say that, as I said, I've only taken the 2 basic classes that are needed to understand how biomolecules react with each other. That this is way more into detail than I had in my courses.
Yeah, I'll see if I can share this. Screen share. Okay, like this is like one page here. This is a differential equator using beta bar. These are actually equations for startup rate equations, and to create what's called delayed neutron criticality from subcritical neutrons. These are from delayed neutron precursors. This, and can you see this one, the neutron life cycle model?
Yes.
Okay, so this neutron life cycle model, this formula called the 6-factor formula, when you have a fast fission factor, thermal non-leakage factor, resonant escape probability, thermal utilization factor, and fission utilization factors. These are actually ratios to figure into your K effective. So these are actually what we learned. We had to memorize all these fucking formulas, beta and rho and subcritical multiplication rates. These are not entry-level physics, okay? I don't remember much, but to sit there and say that I'm a physicist? No, fuck no. Okay, I'm not a physicist because I was able to do this stuff at one time. This does not make me a physicist. It does not make Shawn a fucking physicist. We just had a lot of education in this particular area that most of us threw away. But, it is what it is. But for him to call himself a retired scientist, holy shit, that's just the height of arrogance, man.
It's a basic dishonesty that he has shown since he joined the CCP.
It has been nothing but dishonesty with this guy, hasn't it? Here,
Pretty much. Like when he claimed that he has written peer-reviewed papers.
Oh, that was bullshit too.
I worked in research. I didn't write the peer-reviewed papers, but I worked for the people who did write the papers, and that's such a complicated and in-depth process. You cannot joke about this. This is so hard, and that is biology. Biology still has actually a lower standard than some physics fields have.
Possibly. I mean, well,
Because we cannot control for variables the same way a physicists
there's
can
more random.
control.
Yeah, there's more independent variables in biology, I would assume. But here's this
Yes.
good video. As a retired scientist, I had one more objection to DM 2525. He called the multiverse a scientific theory. That's all Colin Jurassic something or other. Yeah, dude, you're not a fucking retired scientist. Get the fuck over yourself. I mean, like, seriously. I mean, I'm just... yeah, let me tell you about peer-reviewed papers. I never wrote a goddamn peer-reviewed paper in my life. And the only difference between his nuke school and my nuke school is we had 3 months longer of A school. Okay, A school is where you learn your in-rate stuff. Mine was machinery, his was electronics. So yes, he did learn a little bit more about electronics. Once, however, you graduate A school, you move on to nuclear power school, then prototype. That is exactly the same length for everybody. By the way, I'm getting a lot of noise here. Who's that? Oh, it's you, Nathan. Logic beats speculation is in my live feed. He says he went to the nuclear power program too, and he did make it to the dark side. I asked him. I'm trying to see what he. Yeah, and it's all confidential. Yeah, you have to study in the building. Yeah, that's exactly true. So I believe you. Yeah, the dark side of power school, which is where it gets really intense. It makes the light side look like a fucking cakewalk. That is confidential, yes. But I mean, logic beats speculation. Did you even get? Yeah, I went to Orlando too. By the way, I graduated nuke school in 1989. When did you? 88 or 89? What, 90? Class. I was 88 or 8, so that's my class. So what? It was hard as hell. Really fast info coming at you. Yeah, they basically give you a lecture, and as they give you the lecture on the chalkboard, some of them actually erase as they go. They actually write it and then erase it with the other hand. You know, it's just intense. I mean, in one day you have calculus, you have thermodynamics, you have vector analysis, you have reactor kinematics, you have atomic physics, you have chemistry. I mean, logic beats speculation. Am I exaggerating here at how fast the pace is? How they would take like literally 4 credit college level courses and throw them at you in one day, and then expect you to be there every night till midnight. From 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, you're there from 6 to midnight, pretty much every single day. Let's see what logic beats speculation says. Oh, I guess I could put the live feed in there. Yeah, no exaggeration at all. Let me see if I can put the live streaming in here while you guys shoot the shit here for a second.
Yeah, more or less that tends to make college a bit of a sadistic initiation rite more than a educational experience.
Well, I'm not exaggerating. I have been told by numerous people, that if you can graduate nuclear power school, you can graduate from any college in the world. Now, again, I only know of the experiences I had in my own college, which was College of the Desert and Texas A&M. Not that terribly difficult. So, I mean, I can't compare it to some course like MIT or Stanford. But a lot of those people were ex-nukes, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, he says college was easy compared to military school. Yeah, it's no joke. But at least you guys, get an idea of what my education was. It was pretty intense in the nuclear field. And plus, it continues on. When you get to the fleet, you don't stop learning, So, yeah, it is really, really, really tough shit. And no, I'm not trying to stroke my own ego. I'm only trying to point out that, yeah, I'm a little bit deprivating in my own, education, my own intellect sometimes. But deep down, I know that I'm not an idiot. And I do know that anybody in the Clown Car Posse can be refuted by myself or anybody that comes into my room. It's just not that difficult to do so. But we need to, because if not, they're going to be promoting misinformation. People. Would you agree, Jade? Oh, she left? Oh.
I think she left.
How about you, Paul?
So edify me. What's the difference between Clown Car Posse and G-Man and his crew, or is that all the same
Thing. G-Man is
Yeah,
part of the
no.
ground. Yeah.
Anyone who's wandered through here would certainly have no problem, given the one evening of watching G-Man that I've had. Wow, it was crazy.
Yeah, he's not terribly difficult to refute. Who's calling me right now? I'm busy. Oh, that was Jade. I don't know why. Weird.
Sorry, are you done ranting about your YouTube comments?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What else do you want to rant about this guy? I mean, did you get the whole gist of this guy? The guy was so goddamn dumb that he reported my channel because somebody else's name that happened to be his that we were talking about. And if you go to YouTube's privacy link, they said you cannot file on behalf of somebody else. So if he wasn't even the person we were talking about, he has no privacy violation concerns.
But was I right in hearing you? Sorry, my kids were around. But was I right in hearing you that like he had a similar name or the same name? As someone? Okay. All I wanted to come on to say was, so there's a guy in Canada and Ontario who has the same name as me, and he's constantly getting Star Wars questions, and now I think he's probably getting atheist stuff. But he's the mayor, he's the mayor of a town, and like you Google that name, and he comes up like number 15 on the list or something. So I occasionally get contacts from him. He's like, "Screw you for having my name." So anyway, it just. I
have a ballet dancer. Most people know that name, the same name. But he uses Stephen McRae, so that's nice. At least there's some differentiation. So Paul, just for a second, we can discuss some of the stuff that I asked you before, like Star Wars stuff. You don't care?
I don't care. No, that's fine.
Okay, because if people don't know, Paul actually is, a huge Star Wars guy. I mean, he actually worked for Lucas. He actually was the operator for Lucas Online. What do they call it? The channel op?
Director. I was director of the division in the company. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so you were high up muckety muck. I mean, you're actually an IMDb and all that.
I am. That's why I was like, man, IMDb. That was a goal of mine to get an IMDb credit. So
what's George Lucas like to work with? He's pretty intense.
He's extremely intense. As you can imagine, it's there's a lineup of people for every single job, right? So if you're not the best at it, you get fired, and they take next in line. So in that way, it was a pretty great place to work because everyone was amazing. It didn't matter if you were like the guy who made sandwiches or the guy who swept the floor or John Knoll for doing who invented Photoshop. Everyone was everyone's top of their game. So that was cool, but it also meant that there was incredible pressure for perfectionist level stuff. It was
I get that, but I couldn't handle that these days. I mean, the Navy was the same way. Obviously, the nuke program was the top 1% of the entire Navy. You are the best of the best. You're like the SEAL team. I mean, of academics, and the pressure is just huge. Matter of fact, nukes had I think it was the third highest suicide rate in the world at one time. It was the highest in the military. Was nukes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The actual highest suicide rates and the most stressful was actually, I believe, aircraft traffic controllers. And Time Magazine, I think, put it as the third most stressful job in the world next to, it was aircraft controller and coal miner, I think, were the first two, if I'm not mistaken. And then nuke. Yeah. So I get what you're saying when they want absolute perfection. And you have to constantly deliver, and...
Yeah, you're only as good as what you did yesterday. Right. Always. But, yeah.
And every fuck up is huge, right? No matter how small it is. Now, granted, I never got in trouble in the Navy. I went to what's called XOI, which is the not captain's mast, but the executive officer mast once, which is not as bad as captain's mast, which is not as bad as court martial, obviously. So it's like the bottom of the bottom as far as judicial punishments. And then actually, I didn't get anything out. I was found. What's the word? They don't try you or anything, but nothing happened because I had a good case, and was able to defend myself. So the person who brought the complaint kind of thing, just said, okay, don't let it happen again. But I learned to dot my I's and cross my T's. You know what I'm saying?
I bet. Well, especially when science is involved, you can't just be.
Well, I had one time
willy-nilly.
I had one time, and I mentioned this before. This isn't when I went to XY, but I did go in front of the chief engineer over this. We were traveling in probably somewhere near the Straits of Hormuz, and we were just doing Leo ops. It wasn't a battle situation. We were just doing some kind of Leo op, which is law enforcement operations. And we had another ship with us, and I guess the captain wanted to like hot dog a little bit, and we were running the specific alignment with the 2 reactor core systems, and he wanted to. Well, we were doing 1, and then he wanted to put it in 2, and he wanted to do it a quick. There's a quick way to do things, and it's only to be used in battle time. It's called battle short, and some other things that we have to do to set that kind of alignment. It's not to be used for hot dogging. It is literally in the procedures only to be used in emergency situations, because it puts a lot of thermal stress on the reactor vessels and also the secondary systems, because you have to heat things up very very slowly, or you get what's called brittle hardening, and things can actually shatter, which is bad, right? You don't want to put thermal stresses on these components. So that was the engineering watch supervisor, or the engineering room supervisor, and I had informed the watch supervisor that I was not going to put the plant in that kind of alignment in these conditions, because it wasn't an emergency, and I was relieved of duty. And I went to go see the chief engineer, and I explained him the situation, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, you're right." And that was it. He's like, yeah. He's like, I probably would have done it because it was the captain, but yeah, you're right too. You're right, because it was, it was for an emergency. But then that's it. But I stood my ground, right? I know I've related that story before, because I'm very proud of it, because I think the things that have a lot to do with YouTube here. People flagging videos. You need to stand up for yourself if you're right, guys. Don't let these people intimidate you. Neithers. 2 things you don't want to hear from your engineers: nuclear reactor and shattering. Yeah, that's not a good thing. It's like I said, brittle fracture actually mostly happens when you're doing what's called hydrostatic testing, and you basically fill a vessel full of water at 1,000 pounds of pressure, and then you look for leaks. The downside of this is probably at the point it starts leaking, it's going to explode. So you got this trade-off here. Yeah, it might have a few leaks, but at the same time, it might actually blow up on you if it's actually damaged. So it's not my favorite test to do, hydrostatic testing. Anyways, how many topics did we just go through here? Somebody had asked me, mentioned to me, "Hey Steve, can you note on your videos the topic changes and the time, so people don't have to watch 8 hour videos?" And I keep telling them, dude, we talk about so many things, I don't know how that would be possible, but I'll give it a try. I need to hire somebody. Dash, maybe I'll hire you. You won't get paid anything, but boy.
Yeah.
Is everybody asleep on me? Seriously?
No, I was focusing on something.
Oh. Steam is 1800 psi in the strip I was on. You said a pinhole leak would have cut her in half. Yes and no. Logically speculation. Yeah. If that was superheated, Steve, a pinhole leak would cut you in half. Most of the system is not superheated, if you remember correctly. So you're right. The PSI is between about 1700 and 1900 PSI, which, by the way, is confidential. So, oh wait, I just said it too. But yeah, it's so funny that the theory, right? Everybody has asked, why is this confidential classified information? Because Nukebacks has the science. That's true. But the numbers, that's what they consider to be classified more than anything else. It's all integrated, right? I mean, the K effective and all that is classified, but it's because of the numbers that go into it. But yeah, superheated steam will actually slice you in two, because it's saturated with water vapor, and as you can't see it, it doesn't produce a mist as it comes out of the pinhole pipe. The pinhole in the pipe. What you'll actually see is a plume on the other side of the room as it finally starts to cool down, and condensation comes out of the plume. So then you can start seeing the steam. But you could walk right in front of that leak, and you would be sliced in half. Well, luckily, from what I understand, you would hear it first. But yeah, there's not too many places in the plant that were superheated. Oh, you were direct turbine. Okay. You're not nuclear, so I don't know anything about your plant, but my plant was about 1,800 psi as well. So, the logic beats speculation. You should come in here because you were a nuke too, even though you didn't finish the pipeline. But it seems like you got through most of it. Prototype was hard though. If you didn't make it through power school, prototype would have killed you, because it was 6 months of exactly the same thing. Only you're actually physically doing it at the same time too. We only had a halon. He says I was more worried about the halon system. We only had a halon system in the kitchen actually. That was over the stoves as a halon system. Yeah, you don't want to be caught in that. That's some nasty stuff, from what I understand. There we go. Polonium halons. No, it wasn't polonium halons. It was another thing. I guess since we're catching up on great debate community stuff and nobody else wants to talk, the G Consciousness, who I had spent several hours explaining polonium halos to, got in a hangout with C. Brown and Wade West. Thank you very much for pointing this out because it was funnier than fuck. He was basically saying that I didn't know about polonium halos, and that him and C. Brown were just kind of stroking each other off on how dumb everybody in the community is except for them two. I was just like, I couldn't even take it because there was one part where G. Brown says, "Well, I don't really know the shape of the Earth, but I mean, I'm assuming that it's round, but you know, I don't know for certain." I'm like, so you're goddamn as stupid as the flat Earth is then. I'm like, seriously. So wait a minute, you're not certain of the shape of the Earth, and that's marginally better, maybe, than somebody who actually advocates that the Earth is flat. Marginally, and I'm being nice here. So I would say that C. Brown is pretty much effectively as dumb as a flat earther if he doesn't really know the shape of the Earth. Anybody disagree on that? You guys are killing me here, bro.
Not at all.
This is not a solo program, okay?
Hey, you complained
about
about
do
the
solo, I'd
noise.
masturbate. I don't need your help. Although it is accepted.
Your big words are confusing me.
I don't understand. Will you please talk slower and use smaller words? I have to do that when G-Man's here.
I always just assumed that flat earthers are trolls or joking. I can't, like, really?
No, well...
No,
okay,
hold on.
Go ahead.
One moment,
Go ahead.
Steve.
Yeah, go
there
ahead,
is a
please.
percentage of them, yes, are trolls.
Yes.
Then in the 70s, there was a flat earth group in Canada who started, but they weren't really trolling. It was a philosophical position, and they did it to get people to think and to, basically, they wanted to lose arguments.
Yeah, and
Okay, presented to you to get you to prove them wrong, to get you to think that just because someone tells you something, it's not true. What you see today are basically just the village idiots.
Who believes it?
Who believe it now.
Yeah. I've asked the people that are the channel ops of the flat earther debunkers, and they've said that they probably estimate that 25% are trolls. The other 75% really are stupid. And by the way, I am having a live feed on the video this time. People have asked for it back. So I know a few people didn't like it, but the overwhelming people wanted it in the video, so I am including it right now.
Yeah. And at least flat earthers from the 1800s, like the late 1800s, early 1900s, at least they had an argument and a case to make that nobody has actually been to both poles at that time. Now. Yeah, we have now, and yes, someone has actually gone from pole to pole back up to the first pole again.
Right, but I've
prior
met
to that,
some who are...
nobody really did it, so you could kind of get away with these stupid arguments.
I've met some who are literally out to try and make Christians look stupid. Like, I actually have come across people who will troll.
Well, that's the troll side of it,
right.
too.
That's like the Rand Campbells. Rand Campbell is a pretends to be a Christian flat earther, but he's an atheist.
And this is why guys like Ken Hovind do not accept flat Earth and will not answer questions on flat Earth and scream at people who talk about it because, well, you know, he knows how far to take the crazy, and he stopped at that point.
Yeah, exactly. He stopped at even Ken Hovind had a limit of crazy he can go to.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, think about it. You got 100,000 people. You talk about something crazy. 90% of them get up and leave the room, leaving you with 10% now. If you push the crazy any further, another 90% gets up and leaves the room, and that doesn't leave you a lot of people now to bilk for money.
Right.
Well,
you got
to know how far to take it in order to be able to have a body to draw money from.
Right.
When Strike and I were on with Eric Hovind this week.
Oh, I need to ask you about that. Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't matter, but it became blatantly clear during the call. They want affluent people. Like, they were definitely weeding out by affluent. Yeah, so he can't go with the younger stuff. And the whole thing was a big ad to sell this $90, DVD set.
Yep, his webinar.
Yeah, and it was almost like your condo association kind of thing, trying to guilt all the Christians in the room.
They don't want poor people, and rich people might be too smart for it. So we'll just sell it to the gullible middle class because there's a lot more of them, and they have the money to throw around on stuff like this.
So, which explanation explains the flat earther YouTube videos that try to prove flat Earth using gyroscopes? Those ones fascinate me the most.
How would a gyroscope be able to demonstrate flat Earth?
Well, let me think. I think their reasoning is flawed, but what attracted me to even consider watching such a video is, basically gyroscopes resist their changing their position in space. So reasonably, if you're in an airplane, or if you're, if the Earth is moving, then you I don't know. There's some kind of an argument I think that could be made.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If your gyroscope is spinning long enough.
Hey, can somebody real quick? Can they check ICR? Somebody had said ICR is down, and I think that ICR is their entire website is down. That's weird. Our prayers worked. It shut it down. Satan is attacking them. They're under demonic attack.
No, their website only worked 6 days a week. Don't you know?
Oh, okay. Hey, it's funny. I had watched your video, and I do want to talk about your webinar thing. Eric was talking about lightning hitting his modem, right?
Yeah, he talked about that again during the thing.
And it was so funny because what came to my mind is exactly what you said that to me about if it was my church, that would have been like demons attacking the church, and I'm surprised he didn't play that up.
Let's just give some IT advice here for young Eric. Eric, when it's thunder and lightning outside and you're at your church, close the window. That way the lightning can't hit the modem.
It's still good, but it can still hit something and go through the line. I mean, the modem is plugged in, but you need a filter.
Well, then it didn't really hit the modem, then did it? It hit the line.
Yeah, it hit the line, but you need a surge protector.
I'm being a literalist here, like.
Yeah, but I think that he thinks it hit the line. I don't think he understands on this stuff. I've actually watched him go through. They have a render farm for the movie they're making, and man, for a guy who paid for a render farm, he knows nothing about servers and blades and routers and the coolant system and all that kind of stuff, unless he's pretending to be dumb, which sometimes he does. But
Paul, this is the guy who made a very high-end CGI video, and the graphics was good, and then got the inlet and the outlet of the Grand Canyon reversed.
Yes, it's true.
I mean, how do you live that down? I mean, yeah, and you're right. I think he does pretend to be stupid sometimes, but he
doesn't live it down. That video's still on sale for $5. If you want to buy just that 1 minute video for $5, you can.
It's on YouTube.
I know, but he still sells it on his website, which makes me laugh.
He is, he's such a con man, but he is personable. I will give him that. I mean, there's just something about him that he's just agreeably stupid, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of it is an act, and how much of him is really just being stupid.
Well, I think you have to convince yourself, of a lot of that stuff, to play it off well. But the fact that it's a con, man, is more evident to me than ever. Yeah,
he knows. I'm sure Eric Hovind knows it's a con. Now, I mean, he might have some beliefs in something, but I mean, he surely plays it up a lot, and it's all up for the money. But did you get the book from Fuzrana yet?
No, we don't get mail service on the weekends. We Canadians, so.
I have started reading it. I'm through chapter 1 now.
Cool.
I like it so far. I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to be, sucking up to him. The first chapter, he talks a lot about Mary Schweitzer, and really gives a little bit of background about her and other things that have been discovered. And I think he does a really good job on it.
Well, old Earth creationists are fascinating to me. Not the theistic evolutionists, because those I understand, but the old Earth who, agree in the billions of years and agree that animal life has been on for billions, but denying, the end result of evolution. That particular cognitive ability to somehow cut that tiny little piece out is amazing to me.
Yeah, they're very selective on that. I get theistic evolution as well. I think it pretty much goes, there's a level of disagreement, would be theistic evolution as far as the, God did it. And then it would be old Earth creationism and then young Earth creationism, obviously.
But I fully expect Fuzz to be like that book to be 90%. Anyone in biology would probably agree with it.
Yeah. I've found nothing in it controversial so far, but I'm only on chapter 1. But yeah, I mean, at least it's short, it's brief, it's not in depth. It's just a succinct thing of Mary's work and some of the basically how she came about finding this and that and some of the other things that have been discovered. Yeah, it's not bad so far. So,
But what's the price tag on the back?
I think $14.99 or $12.99 or something,
Yeah. Okay.
which is reasonable for.
But anyway, but I just also noticed how much Reasons to Believe cranks out a lot of books. Like, but if you want to support them through buying books, they sure make it possible.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand they need funding, and I get that. I don't fault people for that kind of stuff. I fault people for like putting out bullshit misinformation and then trying to make a dime off of it.
Well, yeah, I'd rather have their attempts at falsifiable theories as opposed to, as you said, the 5 minutes for 1 minute animation of the Grand Canyon that goes the wrong way.
That's again, you got to look at that and go, how did they miss this? Somebody would get fired if that was for Lucas, right?
Of course. Oh yeah.
Shit would be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They would be escorted by security, as we would often see. Yeah.
You've actually had that happen a few times?
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah, you'd see somebody. They were not. When they gave you 2 weeks notice, that was 2 weeks at your home. They didn't let you sit around in the chair on the.
Yeah.
Oh man, we actually had people like that in retail as well that would be caught stealing and they'd be led on handcuffs, and we called it the walk of shame.
Yeah.
Because they take them from the back and they just walk them out from the back, and slowly. I mean, I'll tell you, if anybody even in retail and you think about stealing, I will tell you right now, you will get caught. I could even tell you how many people in 20 years of retail I've ever seen getting busted for stealing, and I've nailed numerous amounts of them myself. I mean, I've worked very closely with loss prevention and for internals, and people. You just remember this. People may not think that you'll get caught, and you may think that you're outsmarting the system, but there's always something in the system that you're probably not aware of that somebody else is.
Yeah. Steve, I know someone who actually lost their job in retail because of accounting.
Because of accounting?
Yes. Accounting a notice an anomaly. Okay, the products in the store, there were items which were called core, which were tracked for sales. Now, the employee was buying things with their employee discount, giving them to a friend to return, for not for cash, but for store credit or other product.
At full retail value.
At full retail value.
Right, that's common.
The thing was, the things they were buying were core. So more core was being returned than sold because they only tracked the core that was sold to a customer and they tracked the core sold to a employee separately. So customers were returning more core than what was sold to them.
Yep.
It took 2 years, but somebody found it in accounting as they were going through the books.
Oh yeah.
And then started to track when this was happening.
Very common scam.
And started to find a pattern of it would be sold and returned within a week of itself.
We had.
And yet,
oh, go ahead.
I was saying, yet when I worked for the government, there would be people who literally be caught with cash that they would still steal from petty cash, and they couldn't be fired, which was just drove me crazy.
My favorite one. I was at Circuit City. I was a manager at Circuit City, and we had this. I sold a laptop. I was in the top sales in the entire country. We were in the top what's called the President's Club. I think it was the top 5% you had to be to get in the top President's Club, and we sold a lot. And I sold a customer a laptop, and he hadn't picked it up. He's like, look, I just want to have it left here, and we could do that. We called it we don't release the product, but it's sold, and he was going to come pick it up. Well, he came back to pick it up. And when I was trying to release the product, it showed it had already been picked up. And the guy's like, I didn't pick it up. And I was like, well, that's kind of odd. Well, come to find out, that one of the other employees there made a copy of the ticket, gave the ticket to a friend, and had the other guy come in and get the product released to him. unbeknownst to this kid, everything's timestamped. And you can look at the logs that he doesn't have access to, but as a manager, we can look at the logs, find out exactly when the duplication ticket was made, what terminal was made at, and look at the cameras of who made it. I mean, again, people don't realize that just because you're not aware of certain things, other people have reports, like you said, accounting that they're not going to be, privy to.
Mm-hmm.
People are complaining about the.
I think what it is today, Steve, is the kids today who get caught doing this kind of crap. They grew up in the world where there's cameras all around them, so they're not aware of them. Our generation, the security camera in a store is new, so we've learned to find them and look for them.
You'll see people come in and do that. They'll be, looking around for the camera.
No, I'm just saying we're aware of these things. So if I go into a store, I'm aware that, hey, there's most likely a camera in the electronics section.
Oh yeah.
Don't do anything stupid there.
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't just the camera. I could have had access to a report that actually showed that a duplication of the ticket was made.
Yeah,
that's
and we're
that
also
they had no
aware
idea
because of how computers are work, because we've worked on early versions of them. That things are logged, things are time stamped, and we're aware of these things.
Yep. Well, that's why I was a manager and he wasn't.
Yeah. Like I worked with someone who was they were supposed to be the air quote production manager, and I would come home in the afternoon after my day was done, sit down, go on Facebook, and see from 1 o'clock till 3:30 they were liking cat pictures. And from 1 o'clock to 3:30, we could not find him anywhere in the factory. And they're all done from a PC, not from a phone. The guy tries to write me up, and I point this out to him. That, you've been doing this now for 3 months every day.
Wow.
I even had a supervisor trying to give me trouble. I point out, your pornography habits that you watch at work for 15 years, you do realize the servers, when you delete it on your end, the servers don't delete it.
Yeah, I don't get that either. People don't understand how the servers work.
And
they don't understand this law.
But he knew everything about computers because he knew his hotkeys. But it logs everything. Emails are saved, attachments. Every time you viewed it, there's a record of that. Whichever terminal you viewed it on is also recorded. It's a key logger.
Yeah.
After I left the company, he was no longer a supervisor.
Yeah, a lot of times there are key logged things as well.
Yeah. But you'd be dumb to have a network without a keylogger, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, no, I'm a firm believer in all that kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah.
It saved my ass before many times. I mean, being in retail, things happen, right? And you have to be able to defend your situation. Like, why did you do this for the customer? Why did you do this? You're being accused of this. Again, I've learned to dot my I's and cross my T's. So.
Hey, Steve, I got to jump in a minute, but what happened with the strikes that you got from the objectionable adult content stuff?
Nothing happened.
Did those go away?
No, YouTube didn't even. It wasn't a blip on their radar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't get a strike?
No.
Oh, okay. Did they just demonetize?
No. Oh,
so it was nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And then looked at it. There was no meat spin. They just dropped it.
Right.
So what about today's?
Well, this was yesterday's. I got an email from YouTube, and basically they give you the options to delete the video, not make it private, but delete the video or change the questionable material, or to refute it. And I chose to refute it, pointing out in detail that the guy making the report, because he left a comment on my video. A different guy. He's claiming to be a different guy. And I said, you cannot make a privacy concern on behalf of somebody else per YouTube's own privacy rules,
right.
Which is why he deleted that comment, because I noted that to him. But he deleted it after I screen capped it. I'm smart. And the other thing was that even if it was the same guy or a different guy, doesn't matter. I'm allowed to use somebody's screen name in my videos. Right? Sure. And yeah. You go by your actual name, so we can't dox you. I can't pronounce it, but people know your real name.
Yeah.
But if people want to call you Paul, you go by Paul, right? I'm not doxing you by calling you Paul. That's what you're going by.
Right.
Which happens to be your name.
Right. Yeah, and I put that in my it's in my credits. So yeah, whatever. Although I'm deliberately not like
I'm not
my
saying your
name
last name. Yeah.
on the screen. Although I put up a graphic novel that I wrote, and so anyone can go into Amazon and like, okay, who wrote that? It's not big. So I'm aware of those dangers. I'm more just trying to learn from. I'm expecting at some point I'm going to get strikes somewhere down the line.
Well, and this is going to help you because again, I want people to know that you can defend yourself. Just because somebody like reports me for privacy concern, that doesn't mean I have to like take down my video or change the title. If I'm in the right, I can appeal, which I did, and I even put a screenshot in of this guy putting a comment on my video using his own name, and that's not a privacy problem.
Well, thank you for doing that because absolutely, that's something. Obviously, the YouTube is. You feel like they're getting better at it. It sounds like from the stories that they're getting better at this stuff.
I think they are looking into things. Then it's not as it used to be, where if you get like a flag, it just automatically comes down. They're not doing that anymore. They haven't really implemented much of this whole. Remember this whole community thing that they went to, where they sent a bunch of people out to go find problems.
The community hero thing.
Yeah, the community hero thing. I haven't heard anything about that since then. Nothing.
No, just 50 response videos.
Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility. I made one too, but anyways, I want people that are content providers, such as yourself. We need to stick together and not be intimidated by people that threaten action. I've been threatened with legal action numerous times. Bring it on, go for it. I've been threatened. My channel won't last to the end of the year. Well, it's bigger than it ever was. So. Yeah, I'm not concerned. You cannot stand down to these people. I'm telling you. What happens is if you start standing down to social justice warriors, you start standing down to people that don't like your content because they don't agree with you, then we've lost the war.
Yeah, totally agree. Cool. Well, thanks, man. I'll rejoin in a bit if I can.
Yeah, I hope you get that book because I want to know your opinion on it too.
I'm probably at a Monday or Tuesday.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Later, man.
Later, bye. He's such a nice guy. Great videos. If you guys have not subscribed to Apologia, sub to him. He's got some amazing videos. But he's a professional video maker, so I mean he has high quality stuff. Go figure, right? Again, are people complaining about the live feed? Most people wanted the live feed, so I am leaving the live feed in here. So if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
No, it's all right. I've been watching the discussion about the Church of Satan.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny is my roommate had actually said I should get a hold of Xena. I can't remember her last name. She's a daughter of LeVay, but she doesn't go by LeVay anymore. But I was like, do I really want to? I mean, she doesn't do interviews much anymore, and the only people I've had of interest would probably be Tyler Durden and Wolf King, maybe, I think.
Yeah, and the clown car posse will just turn around and call you a Satanist for having her on.
Which is fine. I mean, again, I have an open. I want to show people that my YouTube channel is open to anybody, Satanist or fundamental Christian. What's the difference? If you have something to say, it's by the way.
What's the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference? You know she's an atheist, right? I mean, she doesn't believe in a being called Satan.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. It's actually to mock the Christian church.
Okay. I was just going to say, with this Greg Loucks guy, I'm going to give it a little bit of a defense.
Because he's your defenses.
Oh, here we go.
Come on, Gary. Again, I love to hear this. Go ahead. You're always coming to defense people. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to give it this, which is, there are people who are stupid enough to not Google somebody before they actually leave a comment.
What do you mean?
Well, there's people out there who would see the fact that you dealt with another guy called Greg Loucks. I think he's a creationist.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same guy or not. He claims not to be, but that doesn't really tell me anything. I mean, if here's the thing: if it wasn't talking about him, why would he leave a comment? He's like, I never talked to you before. Then I'm not talking about you. He even puts out in the comment. Well, there's a number of Greg Loucks. Okay, then I'm not talking about you. What the fuck you bitching about then?
Yeah, but the thing is that the reason he's bitching is probably because he's getting like loads of comments from people who maybe watch your video. I don't know how to use the Google function to know which one's which.
He didn't mention anything about that, and these are old videos. I mean, these are back in October, dude. Nobody goes back and watches my old shit. I mean, I get a trickle, but. And by the way, the link to get in is in the Hangout description, guys.
No, but I must say that, like, again, there are morons out there who don't bother to do, and he probably like I mean, like, I've gotten messages from people who share my first and last name for somebody who I'm not actually what. I had to tell them, no, I'm not that person.
Yeah, that maybe what happened, but it doesn't excuse his stupidity.
No, it doesn't. I'm just saying. I think there's a better way to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. Here's what you do. If you got an issue with somebody and it's obviously not egregious, if somebody's promoting, abuse or something like that, then yeah, you can do what you got to do to flag a video. But if it's somebody that you can actually have a conversation with, just message them and say, hey, I find this to be offensive, or maybe you should do this. That's fine. I'll take anybody's message. But to automatically say, oh, I'm going to just report your video because of this, and this, that's just asinine. All that does is clog up YouTube's people to have to investigate this stuff with no cause. And by the way, your TV's on. I can't have the TV on.
Sorry.
Nice TV. Again, the link. People's asking for the link. The link is in the video description. Come on in. Hey, Steve, you've been awfully quiet.
Yeah, I actually had a different topic to suggest, but you guys seem to be all right.
This is why though I can't sit there and put, at this time we talked about this, at this time we talked about this. It's just too much of a burden because things flow so quickly. Go ahead.
Right. So there's a podcast I like to listen to called The Bayesian Conspiracy. It's a rationalist podcast. And episode 23, they had an interview with an individual, Alonzo Fief, who blogs as the Atheist Ethicist. And as I understand it, he formulated this meta-ethical theory he calls desirism. I could be wrong about some of the detail and all of that, but desirism, when I listened to the podcast, it was a really interesting theory, especially to me, because it really sounds like a lot of my own meta-ethical theory, except that I would just replace the word desire with goal. Basically, it's this idea that first describes the objective, observable behaviors and concepts that we refer to as morals, and how they have evolved throughout life, and what their sort of basis is as a phenomenon, and then goes from there and says, well, now knowing this, we can just sort of take with desirism, we can just say moral behavior is determined by our desires, and we can do what is in the best interest of fulfilling our desires at the most base level.
How is that any different than having a moral code from Want's, moral Kant's deontological theories? Saying that our morals come from a duty that we have, rather than just being morally right.
Well, so for me, in my personal theory, is more along the lines of suggesting that in terms of strategy, right? So morals only become something significant within a society where you're dealing with other people, right? So the idea is that if you want to fulfill a certain goal, as I would put it, you want to do is what is in the best interest of fulfilling that goal. It's not so much saying the deontological, no, this is what's right, because I feel it. No, it's more like I just happen to arbitrarily, if anything, arbitrarily choose a goal that I want to follow after. And in fulfilling that goal, if I do things that hinder other people's goals or contrast, right? Contradict other people's goals, then it's going to hinder me coming to a point where my goal actually gets reached, right? It's only when our goals happen to be
Do you want to
in
be
direct.
you want to have a synergy with people, in a symbiotic relationship with people, rather than try to affect their reaching of their goal, because that's going to fall back to
Ex-
you and not be able to meet. It'll hinder your ability to reach your own.
Exactly. It's only when somebody else's goal is completely antithetical to yours that you
Then you have a
actually have
problem.
to say they're my enemy. Like by default, that individual is an enemy who I just can't cooperate with.
That's what I was just going to say. That just sounds like cooperation to me.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's what morals, as far as I'm concerned, as far as evolution is concerned, that's what it comes from, is the benefit of cooperation.
Yeah, well, H.T. Wick, I think, wasn't he bringing something along those lines, that he thought that cooperation isn't even involved in the modern evolutionary paradigm, and it's like, well, wait a minute, why doesn't? Of course, we have cooperation in biology. That's how things survive. I don't know why that motto would have to like completely undermine the evolutionary theory we have, because according to H.T. Wicks in this third way that he was talking about, said that that would happen. It's like, no, it really wouldn't.
I'm not sure if I understand what this Wicks position was.
I don't know either. He talks about himself in the third person, right? And that's always never a good sign, right?
Right.
But Steve thinks that, and I'm talking about myself, not you. Yeah, this is weird. So he's talking about this third wave, which uses an extended synthesis, which is basically something that's already been included in modern evolutionary synthesis. There's nothing new or novel here. Evolutionary development and epigenetics and that kind of stuff, and cooperation as well. Different models is all included in biology. I don't know where he's coming to this conclusion that there has to be some revolutionary new paradigm out there to explain observation. There's no need for this. I think the reason they're doing it is they want to somehow make that wedge document a reality and provide some kind of information that says, oh, there isn't an agreement here across the board in science or in evolution. Therefore, creationism or intelligent design should be taught alongside with it. That's the gist is what I'm getting from this whole third wave movement.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to those sorts of things, like especially after my recent experiences with Darth, I'm coming to the conclusion that a lot of these arguments are there to just make you feel confused about something, and it's just trying to point out the idea that you don't know everything, so how can you? It's trying to make the argument you don't know anything, so how can you say that you know? Or sorry, you don't know everything, so how can you say that you know anything?
Right.
Basically.
Right. And first of all, we've all known Dawkins for quite some time. We know his game. He has no balls, so he'll never come in here. He'll never join me in a hangout. He keeps on saying that I run from him. And what it is no Darwin's, which he sometimes listens. But if he ever does listen, I don't want to engage with him on anybody else's channel. You know why? Because I cannot finish my train of thought. I'm always shut down. I'm muted. I'm talked over. My volume's lowered. And I'm not going to bother with that. So if he ever wants to have a conversation, he can come in here and talk to me like anybody else can. I don't run from anybody. I'm here. There you go. Here's my room. It's open to anybody. Come on in. He won't do it because he knows I have the same policy for anybody else, and that if he's allowed in here to talk, the Plowtark Power Rangers are as well, and he doesn't like that. So that's his own insecurities.
Yeah, no. I mean, one of our conversations I cut short because of that very reason. I think I mentioned it to you the other day. Is I needed to he wanted to hear me justify as an atheist why how I could ever give him an ought of what to do. So I went and said, okay, do you want to have a conversation with me? He said, yes. Okay, then you should know that I refuse to have a conversation with someone who does not accept rational discourse as a premise to how that conversation should proceed. And he, instead of hearing that response, just re-asked his question like he just didn't even hear me. And I went ahead and repeated myself until he finally heard me. And he goes, well, then I guess we're not going to have a conversation then. And I said, nope, goodbye.
Yeah,
And hung up.
you'll find all he is. He uses a bastardization of the Socratic method, and all he will do is continually bombard you with questions. Rather than answer anything, you've got to stop, and you say, Darwin's, I've answered. You can answer one of his questions, and then after that, it's your turn. If he doesn't want to answer, play golf ball, you're done with the conversation. Nobody wants to talk to him anymore.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't even paying attention well enough to understand that I was demonstrating exactly what an ought would be.
Right.
In my terms, you have an interest, you have a goal of wanting to have the conversation. If you want to have the conversation,
you ought to do this.
Then you ought to agree to rational terms of
Which is a brilliant example. I agree.
Discourse.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's exactly how a parent or a therapist will try to help you correct your bad behavior.
No, I see, I see what you did there. Trust me.
Things.
I get it. But Darwin doesn't listen to people, dude. He doesn't hear what you say. He doesn't care. It's all about him just throwing shit out there and making people look stupid. He always, dude, he got so bad at, because everybody kind of knew his game, he actually went into like some kind of Minecraft video. Did you see that? And he started trying to precept like 12-year-olds.
Jeez.
I am not making this shit up. There was an 8-year-old in there.
Steve, go eat raw spaghetti.
I wouldn't done it.
Yeah, go eat raw spaghetti. Yeah, no, he really was. And then what's worse is he sniped 2 of these poor kids out of the hangout.
Sounds about right. Hey, what's going on, Steve? What's going on, guys?
Though. Here's the kicker. It was their first hangout.
Yeah, the first hangout.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's
how these bastards
snipes a bunch of kids and tries to pre-sub them. I'm like, holy shit.
I love you guys' conversation, man. Like, I listen to you guys. I learned some things, man.
Thank you, Liv.
You guys talk about some funny shit sometimes, man. You guys are hilarious. But it's funny that you say this. I wasn't going to jump on. I wasn't going to jump on until I got out the store. But I just went through this. I was just in your, you know me, Steve. I was just in your chat, and I'm paying attention. And you got these 2 characters in there, a Christina and a Tyler, somebody else, and I'm not making problems or anything. But thank goodness that you're recording the chats, because you can always go back, rewind, and see what a person was saying. You know what I mean?
That for a reason, yeah, because people have asked for it. For
that is an awesome idea, man. Like, I hope more people do that, because I'm not, you know me, Steve. I don't make problems on your platform. But here you go. You got people in here that was talking shit. They're saying I'm lying and this, that, and the other, and I'm being rude, this, that, and the other. Hey, just run your mouse across your screen and go back a couple of minutes, and you'll see who jumped out of their neck and went crazy. Then they start banning people.
But I didn't really see.
And now you're talking about a guy who did this to a little kid. Then they start banning people and start blocking people. Real scumbags.
Did they block you in the live feed?
I guess I could give a shit less. Like, I knew I was listening to you. I wasn't even going to come on at first. And I'm listening. I got these piss ants going off, this one and some other character. I'm like, man, let me just contact the man directly. I must have missed it
because I'm watching the live feed, but I was tabbed out for.
Oh, don't worry. Like you know, all you got to do is go back. Some parrot kid and Christina, somebody. I don't know these fucking people. I do. You know me. I'll get on camera a little bit. Yeah, I'm sure they are, but they took me completely sideways. Like I said,
what'd you do to aggravate them? Just out of curiosity.
No. See, that's an improper question this phase, because what I'm actually saying is I did absolutely nothing to aggravate anyone, and you've had me on your platform several times. You know I would never do that.
Well, they were obviously advocated. It's not an inappropriate question. The answer is I did nothing to aggravate them. But obviously they were aggravated.
Well, that's obviously the answer. Yeah. That's obviously so that's my fault. Like, obviously I didn't do anything. But what it is, it's sentiment. You remember when we were talking and I kept bringing up sentiment, and I say regardless whether you're atheist, theist, whatever, that sentiment, that seething, can't wait to be fucking delightfully hateful type shit. Like, as soon as they find out or deduce that, oh, this guy must be some type of Christian or something, right away, here comes the fireworks.
No, that's not necessarily true.
You know what I mean?
That's not true.
That's not true. I'm telling you, everything I'm telling you, guys.
Hang on, Tyler.
He's recording it. All you got to do is rewind, and you'll go back.
Yeah. Tyler, and I'll let Prainer in a second. By the way, hey, good to see you, buddy. Tyler is a Satanist, and Christina is a pagan, and we have actually a Jew in here. We have a Christian.
You know this ain't my first merry-go-round,
Steve, I want to point out that I'm the quote-unquote kid, whatever. Okay. He's throwing the insults out, and that
wasn't meant as an insult.
Oh, whatever, idiot. you know, you can rewind. You can rewind the
I'm eating
chat.
some popcorn. Go ahead. You two talk.
You know, you can rewind all you want, and
yeah, rewind. That's called evidence.
You shut up for a second, please. Thank you. Now, you can rewind all you want, and you can see exactly where his hate started when he started dumping on the Church of Satan, saying you can't call it a church, and then
when did I say that?
And then I tried to explain to him that church just means a meeting place for worship. So calling a satanic a church is quite valid. It's not an oxymoron.
Well, they are 501.3.
Okay, so hold on.
Exactly, that as well. But then it just started going on. He got more and more butthurt.
Hey, rewind. That's all you got to do.
I found it very enjoyable. And yet,
well, we know you're lying.
Even you know you're lying. No, I'm not lying at all. Thank you very much. And I suggest everybody does rewind.
Why do you think you're so excited?
All right, let's moderate.
This is why you're excited. Listen, you can have the buttery voice all you want, but like I said, what I'm saying is, Steve, you know this ain't my first merry-go-round. This ain't the first time I'm on your platform. I know what I'm into here. So here's the thing: you can rewind, and when you hear cocksuckers say you can rewind all you want, and then they stop being mouthy.
Well, we don't have to rewind because we're in the hangout right now. So let's get to the basics right now. Lived. Let's get to we don't have to rewind. Let's get to the crux of the matter. I'm really good at this shit.
He took kid as an insult and jumped off the deep end.
Well, we don't. Who cares about the kid comment? I'm more curious about the satanic. Do you accept?
Me too.
Do you accept that the Church of Satan, the Satanic Church, as by the LaVeyan Church of Satan, is an actual church? It's a recognized church.
What do you mean? Like
it's a recognized church.
I don't go there.
It's a recognized religion.
It's a religion.
I guess per you know, like what do you know?
Well, you said it was an oxymoron earlier.
And that's exactly what I meant.
Non-religious.
You can rewind to see what I said. I mean, it's an oxymoron in terms of what I would see as a church.
They're an atheistic.
Now you could say, let me finish. Hey, you know.
You kept interrupting me. That's the problem because church.
You're one of these mouth boxes that gets real rude.
No, I correct. When you're
far away, you get real rude.
You're acting just like G-Man.
Oh, that's very nice.
Oh, the G-Man, the G-Man insult comes out.
You're very, nasty when you're afar, and that's not nice. Especially when you got nice people.
Gary wants to add.
When you got nice people talking, that's not nice.
Gary, go ahead.
I am nice. Go, Gary.
Hey, if we were take pictures of each other, you wouldn't be mouthing like this.
Okay, I don't want to start muting people.
Oh, a threat!
I don't want to start muting people.
That was a threat.
But one of
the that's not a threat.
Nobody in the outside, nobody in the outside can hear anybody when 2 or 3 people talk. Trust me, I know from experience.
Well, no moral equivalency, Steve. Right. You hear the motherfucker
Gary,
running off.
Go ahead, go, Gary. Say what you got to say.
I want to ask a question to Livden. Does he consider the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster a church? Because it's
the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
No. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. That is a recognized religion. I think they performed their first wedding this year or last year. I wasn't
laughing to be sarcastic. There probably really is Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Yeah, there is. They're called
That's the question. I'm saying these people do anything.
Middle of my question, please, sir. Right, and I'm saying that this is a real religion that performed a wedding ceremony. It was like last year or this year, probably last year. And I'm saying that they have a lot of systems, but they're atheistic in their because it's basically a Mickey take out of all religions, basically, more or less. It's just an atheistic religion. Now, the thing is, would you say that that's a fraudulent church or fraudulent religion?
I mean, so let's be clear here. Legally, and as per tax purposes, 501c or whatever the fuck it is, like legally, the law decides what an institution is or when you can erect this institution. Okay, so if we're talking along legalistic guidelines, Heaven's Gate people, the ones who killed themselves because they thought the UFO was taking them, they're a church. Anything can be a church.
No.
Church,
Heaven's
Gate was not a recognized church.
No, they were a cult.
No, so perhaps I'm mistaken as far as their certification. But what I'm saying is people can believe in UFOs. They can believe in the ant god,
But Liv, you're not
the
answering the
fucking flying
question.
spaghetti monster. Of course they could be a church.
Okay, so it is a
No,
church.
he's dancing away from it, just as he did with
That's
other
not
stuff.
dancing. That's acknowledging what he's
All
saying.
right, so the
You could
church,
say dancing all you want, but we clearly know why you would say that.
the Church of Satan, you agree, is an actual recognized religion and church. Do you? Yes.
How
That's
can
yes
it
or
not
no?
be?
Okay, so yeah.
How can it not be?
Okay, so we all agree upon that.
Of course.
Okay, I even agree that Scientology is
It's
recognized
still
as a
just an
church.
oxymoron
But the
to
reason
me,
I say that,
for obvious reasons.
I don't consider them a church is because they are actually a multi-level marketing scheme. Now they're
Well, it's the
recognized
same as
as a
Joel.
church.
So is Joel Osteen. So is Creflo Dollar.
Yeah, a lot of them.
So
are
is all of those scumbags. They're the same too.
But you can differentiate between a multi-level marketing scheme like Scientology and say, I don't recognize it as a religion because of that, but the government does. I get that. I mean, if you want to,
In many ways, the Vatican Church is the same way. It's a multi-level. It's just
sell?
a marketing scheme.
They're not an MLM.
But when I say
there's nothing MLM is about. Wait. No, you can't just throw this out there. There's nothing about Catholicism that's a multi-level marketing.
But he loves throwing shit out there.
It certainly
You've been
is.
hearing it
It
all
certainly
night.
is.
Okay. If they're a multi-level,
You just don't. What you don't.
Wait.
What you don't see is, if you let me finish, what you don't see is within the, like, I'm in Old Queens, and in Old Queens here, most of the churches here, they're either abandoned or they're falling apart.
What do the
It's not as
churches
much
sell?
as a multi-level. It's not as much as a multi-level marketing scheme.
Do you know what a multi-level
in
marketing scheme
2017.
is?
No, Liv.
Yes.
It's not churches are multi-level marketing. It's the Church of Scientology is multi-level
Right.
marketing.
Do you know what a multi-level
get you.
marketing is? Do you know what MLM pyramid Ponzi
Pyramid
scheme
scam.
is? It's called a pyramid or Ponzi
yeah.
scheme.
Bernie Madoff.
Well, not always. Not always. Amway is as a multi-level marketing, but it's not Ponzi. So there are, but all Ponzi are.
I'm not here to play. I'm not. Here's the thing.
Okay, but
I'm not playing semantics
but you
or getting in
threw
the
this out
weeds.
there. What
I said is what I threw out there is I said it was oxymoronic, and that pissed people off.
How?
And what I meant by oxymoronic was this: when you mention, a church, when you mention it, apparently, when you mention a church or something like this, just like most people, they're not going to think Church of Satan or Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster or something like this. And when I say it was oxymoronic to me, it's oxymoronic that people would think there's something righteous.
Stop. I'm going to mute you guys. Wait. Lived. I don't care about the oxymoronic, okay? I want you're jumping topics again. I need you to explain how the Catholic Church is a multi-level marketing scheme when they have no product to sell. They don't recruit people. A multi-level marketing principle works on a very specific basis, that you have one person that recruits two people, they recruit two people, they recruit two people, and the higher-ups get a percentage for each person they recruit. Therefore, the top of the rungs get the most, and each person at the bottom doesn't make shit. Okay, and you always have to keep recruiting people to have the pyramid be solid, right? A multi-level marketing works very similar to that, but it has a product involved with it. Okay, that's why it's called marketing. Okay, and that is legal. You can have multi-level marketing. Okay, I don't agree with it, but because it's a product, it's considered to be legal. Now, what is it in the Catholic Church that constitutes it to be a multi-level marketing scheme? That's what we all want to know. You have to unmute yourself.
You have to unmute yourself, mate. But before you do, can I ask another question to you, Lived? I really want you to think about this. Look,
could I answer one question at a time, since I'm being loaded? Like, first of all, someone wanted me to speak directly to why I said oxymoronic, which is what started the whole spat. I wasn't allowed to, and everybody jumped and said I'm ducking and diving because I was dressed in that. So with this multi-level marketing shit, if perhaps it's misspoken on my behalf, so be it. But I look at Opus Dei, I look at several of the things that happened, particularly in Rome and the Vatican See. We see it, as someone of faith, we see it as like a pyramid scheme.
How
like
is
it's all
Opus Dei a
bullshit.
pyramid scheme?
Well, wait, whoa.
Yeah, explain
I'm speaking
that.
I'm speaking from the position of faith, saying that whenever you're pushing something in the church that has nothing to do with the word, which is the majority of the doctrine
That's not
today,
a pyramid scheme.
then
It's
to
a
me-
doctrinal issue.
I have a question.
If I could finish. I'm not speaking. I just said if I misspoke, then please try to decipher what I'm saying is what I'm saying. If I'm a person of faith and I'm saying that when you have these type of marketing schemes within the church, that it's about things other than the word.
Okay, Liv.
You just said you misspoke. You said it over again.
Everybody, Lived.
Wait.
In order for you to call it a marketing scheme, you have to have a product to sell.
You
It's not
just
a
said I
business.
misspoke, and
It's
you
not
said
a
it again.
sell.
So do you not
So
understand?
where
So
are
do
they
you not
marketing?
understand?
What are they
Wait, can I
marketing?
say something in
Most
Liv's
of the
defense here?
merchandise whether it be prayer beads, whether it be whatever shirts they're giving to some kid at fucking daycare, whatever. All these,
That's not how it works. They don't sell those things either.
My man. I don't want to get off into the weeds here. If you, I'll just say this. I'll put it. I'll make it like this for you. I'll make it simple for you. It's not a marketing scheme at all. In fact, what you're talking about and what I'm talking about totally different. I'm completely wrong. What I'm talking about is unnecessary financial fucking interest within the church.
I'm not disagreeing with that. That's a whole different topic.
Hey, I just said you're 100% right and I'm wrong. Okay. No, you don't have to agree. What I'm saying is I'm wrong.
All right, Prainer,
and you guys wanted to get into the weeds on exactly what the business model of Bernie Madoff and all of this shit. Hey, it's unnecessary. The point that I was making is there's a lot of scheming and scamming by these Joel Osteen type characters who say that they're Christian. So listen, this is what I'm talking about. We want to play semantic. Listen, what happened is
very important.
You heard someone say God, and people lost their fucking mind.
I have a very important question for Lived.
Wait. I feel like there's something a little fundamental that just needs to be brought up here.
Go.
First and foremost, I think people need to consider charity in this conversation. If Liv says something that's set off, do you consider that he might really know something that makes more sense than technical?
You're rebutting. You might
right. That's not gonna. I'm not gonna pass like that. I'm not gonna pass like this. I don't want one because I understand that there's a lot of not maybe usually. Like I said, the chat all the time. The dude that hey, someone lost their fucking mind. So reasonable.
Just rewind. Because
just rewind it.
My turn.
Yes, Prana, go.
My turn. Now, first of all, that was a complete lie because I giggled. I didn't lose it. Now, I have a very important question for you, Liv.
Did you just say that?
You said that you are a person of faith. Does that mean that you
unfortunately
that you don't subscribe to any church?
That is exactly. I mean, that's not what it means, but that's me personally.
That's
being
why
a person of faith doesn't mean being a person of faith doesn't mean you don't ascribe to church. That's just me.
So you're a lone wolf in your proselytizing.
I guess you could put it that way.
No,
where is he proselytizing?
I don't know what the fuck he's talking. Well, we're gonna find out right now. Give him 5 minutes. Watch. Give him. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Continue.
Oh, I was done actually.
All right, hey,
no, you weren't.
I will be back in 5 minutes. Okay, I hate to leave the room with you guys all going at each other's throats, but I'm going to be back in 5 minutes.
I'm not going at his throat. I understand this. It's called sentiment.
I want to listen, but I have to go do something real quick. Hey, Pseudo, moderate as needs be for 5 minutes, will you please?
What's that?
Moderate for 5 minutes as needs be if it gets out of hand.
Oh, okay.
Keep things under control.
Yeah.
I have a question for Paranor.
5 minutes.
I have a question for Paranor.
Yeah.
When he said that the Church of Satan is an oxymoron, does that incite any feeling of offense?
Just when they lost their fucking mind.
Let him answer.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The question was addressed to Paranor.
Mm-hmm. So, Lively, be respectful, please, and allow the person being asked to speak in their own voice and not be dishonest and disrespectful in trying to answer for them. Thank you very much.
You've got the floor. Let's hear.
I giggled.
Okay,
that was
so you thought
reaction.
you said you thought it was funny. So
Of course it was. Of course it was, because then I explained to him that a church just means meeting place. It's not for his religion.
No.
All right, and then one thing I want to double back on here is I would argue that when people believe heaven exists, then heaven is a product being sold.
Oh, definitely, I would say that. I know that was Steve's thing, but yeah.
I mean, it's a dead argument, but I think earlier that should have been clarified.
Well, it doesn't have to be money. That is the currency of exchange for things, right?
I believe what Steve was more referring to the multi-level marketing with groups like the Church of Scientology is you're buying books, you're buying courses, you pay money to advance
the church. You don't know that.
And
yeah, but if I was to now,
you're breaking up or something.
He's got loose connection, it sounds like.
Or he's typing on a phone.
Okay, he's muted now.
Okay. Yeah. No, with the Church of Scientology, they're selling books and product. The product itself is the advancing through the levels and the courses they take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just think that someone making a pyramid scheme claim in regards to the Catholic Church, I feel like it just doesn't sound like a adequate counter to say that they don't sell products, because I mean they definitely have layers and levels to them, and they definitely have membership dues.
Yes, they do.
And different things that you have to invest in to go higher or deeper.
Constantly.
There's a hierarchy of who's
Like I
gets
told him,
kids.
look at Opus Dei.
Will you let him finish, please?
When they meet up. But yeah.
Opus Dei is
something
right,
you made.
Right. Lived it. Right. Do you know anything about Opus Dei? Because I actually do. They're nothing like a pyramid scheme. You know nothing about them. I can tell you what they're about if you want. If you want me to
Gary, hold on. Liv, why don't you tell us about Opus Dei?
How about I accept what the man just said? Why is there a need to be contentious if you're corrected? That's the problem that got us.
No, it's to see what you know about.
Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? The man just informed me. The man just informed me that he has direct knowledge instead of the things that I'm thinking and what I've been told, but I don't have the direct knowledge. So why would I be contentious and fight him back on that when he's clearly saying it? Why would I do that? See, that's the problem when I call sentiment. Someone jumped out the fucking window and we know why. Now they can say whatever, but hey, like I said, it's a great thing that Steve records everything, because you can simply go back and look.
It's a great
like
thing
reading
I
the
can speak
transcript
for myself. And
well, you don't want me to cut off, but I get cut off.
When you speak with an authority that you
go
do
read
not
the transcripts.
And
go read the transcripts.
I actually pasted some in the side chat. So, oblivious we can add to your labels. But
all you got to do is rewind.
Here's the thing. You are
Let's have a
ignorant.
productive conversation.
You are ignorant. I'm trying to. But you
then why would you have a conversation with an ignorant person?
It's fun sometimes.
Okay, sentiment, folks. You heard what I said? Sentiment. You know.
Let's just stop with a really. Wait.
Nobody knows what it is. You have no authority, Liv, to speak for me. I giggled. That's it. If you want to make something up and project it all over, that's.
You can talk your shit. I didn't hear you in the chat. You didn't giggle in the chat. You were hacking away.
Guys, stop.
I couldn't hear you until I got on the. I didn't even know you were here. You see what I'm talking about? The guy said he doesn't want to talk about reasonable people. You hear him?
I can't hear you correctly because either you're typing on your phone or you got to lose connection.
I hear popping noises.
Yeah,
it's real bad.
Can we just take 1 minute here to take a deep breath? Realize we're all human.
What I missed?
We're not really here to be at each other's throats.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's what we do.
First and foremost, I want to.
Some people are. Make no mistake. Some people are.
Listen, lived. Just look. See, I want to. I want to reiterate. Take a deep breath. Okay, because I mean the problem is people are in defensive mode, and that's not helping with an actual conversation to be had. All right.
Actually, I'm in tap dancing mode.
Right. You're 100% right. However, I would ask you, don't ignore who is in defensive mode.
No, I'm not ignoring it at all. I see defensive posturing on both sides of this.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate it.
But the fact is, we're human, and we're just trying to actually have a dialogue. And honestly, I don't see anything that goes with either of your personal philosophies that is in direct conflict. It's just that you guys had a little bit of a back and forth, and the defensive posturing got triggered.
I don't bite my tongue at all. I said what I said, and just like reading transcripts in a courtroom, that's what I said. Hey, rewind, go back. Don't take my word for it.
We heard that. We heard that.
Rewind and go back.
Oh,
I think what you
at least to acknowledge your
I see what you said. It ain't, well, you know, read the transcripts, folks.
I don't even know what the argument is.
But what you said,
We
you
get
said
that.
something
We
just
get that.
now. You said, I think heaven, or like pushing the idea of like the afterlife, that's almost like a product.
No,
And
I was pointing that out for the Catholic Church. Like if
I
someone's
think
to say that the Catholic
but I'm
Church
agreeing
is
with
not
you.
selling something.
I'm
then-
agreeing with you, but I don't think that it's just the
Yeah, and I
church.
think,
Like,
and
for
I think you're
instance,
wrong for us.
someone died today, and I watched this guy die. Well, I didn't watch him die, but I heard about it. This Bishop Eddie Long character.
Yeah.
And granted,
He
he's
was-
not Catholic or whatever, but I see him die, and they're treating it like as if it's some type of tragedy. I'm like, this guy was a fucking rapist. He was a fucking he was just like the priest that run around touching kids. I'm like,
for
why are
fuck's
you
sake.
even treating him like he's a fucking?
Right, like, hang on a second.
What non sequitur is
Right,
this?
what evidence do you have that this guy touched kids?
Yeah, I mean, I know who Eddie Long is.
Well,
No. I won't look to answer that question.
I mean, I know there was cases against him, but
well, if you want me to speak to it, his victims came forward along with their families constantly, as well as other members of his church came forward, his victims came forward, as well as the families, as well as other members of the church who said they were essentially covering for him for years, like the same thing's been happening with a lot of these priests. I'm not in the court case, but I'm sure it's public knowledge. You can go find out right now with a Google search. Try it.
So make a claim and don't give anything
Well,
back.
you got Google.
Speaking of claims,
Hey,
there
put your
is something
seething
that
heart to the side. We just went through this.
To be something
Wasn't even answering your
clarified from
question.
the
I'm
chat.
talking to someone
There
else.
does have to be something that's clarified from the chat earlier. You said that LeVay, the Satanist guy, I'm not a Satanist, so I don't know his name off the top of my head. Anton LeVay, he regretted something too late, you said. Can you expand on that, exactly what you mean? Because here's the thing, as far as I know from what I've read, and for what people are saying in the chat who are from the Church of Satan, he didn't regret anything. So what do you mean?
I'm curious too. What do you regret? Lived, are you there?
Connection with Opus Dei. I'll leave that to the wayside.
Okay, well that might be true. I mean, Opus Dei was more of the Holy Order, the Opus Dei thing. He might have regretted.
Unimportant.
That
That was done because we were on another topic, and he brought that up for a reason.
Yeah, yes. The reason was to establish your dishonesty. You ran away from it like crazy. Good for you.
Hey, Lived, if you've been blocked in the live feed, put your YouTube channel in the group chat there, and I'll remove that. Because I think Christina actually blocked you in the live feed.
No, she said she only put him in timeout.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she only just put him in timeout, I think.
Okay.
So what was the name of that person that you just named, Lived? Because I will look this up.
Oh, you're talking about Eddie Long.
Eddie Long, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had sexual allegations with them. I don't think any of them actually came to fruition. He was a gay clergy person that actually was trying to promote, I think, reparative therapy, because I think it was. I think he probably just was one of those people that, was having sexual conflicts with himself, and then tries to quote unquote cure other people of their homosexuality, which is complete bullshit.
You're a chef too. He's terrific.
Right, so I'm looking at this, right, and it reads to me a little bit like Michael Jackson. The bullshit meter seems to be tingling in my particular wheelhouse, and I'll explain why. For the same reason it does with Michael Jackson, which is this: I'm not a father, but I am an uncle to two young kids, and I don't know if is anyone here a father.
Yes.
Right. How much money would it take for you to not press charges against somebody who raped your child?
There would be no charges. They'd be shot.
Exactly. There would be not amount of money in this universe. Exactly. There's no be amount of money in this universe that would stop you from doing it, and that's my point. This is the whole thing with Michael Jackson thing. That's what made me think it's bullshit. Because no father or mother or anybody who's told to a child would take any amount of money. They'd want that fucker in jail.
Then why did they take civil court cases instead of pressing charges?
Yeah, and the thing with Michael Jackson, though, Gary, regardless of what Michael Jackson can be demonstrated, he was definitely guilty, and this was well known, of inappropriately sleeping in the same bed with kids. That was not his own. That you can't get away from. That is demonstrable fact. That shows a severely a lack of awareness of a proper situation. You just don't do that.
Can I say something on that, actually? And first of all, lived left. Michael Jackson, taking everything in his life into consideration, how he grew up by the iron fist of many around him.
He was a man-child.
Yeah, he was a man-child. He had no sexual desire on kids. They were his playmates.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I doubt that he even understood these concepts. I mean, he was a man-child. I don't think he molested kids, but I think he was severely mentally fucked up enough to not understand the ramifications of his actions and how to appear to other people. So, yes, I personally believe that. And, that's how I look at it. But that's, again, my personal opinion. I still think O.J. Simpson killed his wife. So.
Oh, definitely.
Oh. Yeah, I have to agree with you. Like I said, I people say, oh, well, you're just kind of like sticking up for accuser or abusers and stuff like that. No, I'd like to have evidence.
No.
When you look at things in a whole, I don't see Michael Jackson being guilty of
the full
bad
context.
judgment.
Yeah, very bad judgment. But he didn't know better. He really didn't.
No.
And in one way, that's why he had his own little Disneyland there, because that was his safe space in essence.
Yeah, he didn't see a problem with this. He literally didn't.
It's a giant chalk circle.
But those are rare things, right? But I think we can look in and go, okay, in this particular situation, there was no inappropriate behavior. But in other cases, we can look in and go, fuck, this was completely fucked up. Somebody did do something wrong. Good coffee. So he left. I'm sorry, Liv left. But Frainer, did you get your point across to him? You think though?
Hopefully.
I doubt he'll listen, to be honest. But.
Let's see what else is going on here. Live feed. Maybe by the time his victims come out, they were adults. That might be true too. But no, that's not true. Dean says by the same reasoning, if they were innocent, if the accused were innocent, they wouldn't pay up to $20 million on settlements. That's not true. Matter of fact, most of the time, people settle because they are innocent, and it's just not worth the fight.
And the bad PR.
And the bad PR.
I mean, Michael Jackson, lots of money. People have agendas. It's unfortunate, even parents. So.
Yeah. Well, Michael Jackson, Anarchy says Michael Jackson never said he slept in the same bed as those kids. That might be true, but other people in the same documentary, if I remember correctly, had said that he had.
Yeah, I think Lisa Marie Presley said that. Saying stuff like that.
So other people did say that. Am I trying to trigger Brenda again, Crow? I don't care who I trigger. I want to make this very clear. I am not a sympathetic person when it comes to people that inappropriately get triggered and then take it out on other people. I have much sympathy for people that get triggered and have the ability to go, you know what, I'm getting triggered, I shouldn't be watching this, and not be in this conversation. That I have respect for. But I have no respect for people who get triggered and want to become a social justice warrior to try to shut down a video or a channel. Zero. And I will mock them just like do anybody else, so be warned.
So it's something to add to that whole thing. When it comes to things like anxiety, going out of your way to avoid something that would trigger anxiety actually helps to reinforce more anxiety. So while it's not something that's like, it's not my decision to make whether or not to push somebody past their own like fears or things that are triggering them, but that's what makes the trigger warning kind of valuable, in that like it puts it in their hands. But if you fail to give a trigger warning that's appropriate to them, then it's really still something only they can deal with.
Yeah, well, and also trigger warning. Look at you can't after the
disagree.
fact. Hang on one second. You can't after the fact do a trigger warning. Say, oh, I was triggered. Blah blah blah. That's not what a trigger warning is about, right? A trigger warning to me would be like, you know what, you guys are discussing something that I don't think is appropriate. Let's kind of change the subject because I don't want to like lose my shit. That would be a trigger warning.
Yeah. And philosophist, I have to disagree with something you said. With anxiety, avoiding a situation that would generate your anxieties or get them going does not reinforce anxiety. Speaking from a position of having PTSD, understanding where you shouldn't go, because because with PTSD sometimes it's more compulsion than anything. So you don't have full control of it necessarily, but you do have control. Hang on, you do have control of how you get triggered.
Right.
I'm
not saying that. I'm not saying that you do have control, or that a person with anxiety does have control. What I mean is, like, if there is a certain trigger that tends to trigger anxiety, if you avoid it outright, there is the there is the benefit of knowing that you're not going to be fully triggered. But if there is any, and those are bad situations. When you get fully triggered and you're like losing it and overboard, that's a bad situation. That's the thing to avoid. But if, say, there is something which you could be able to resist in even the slightest way, kind of like how when someone gets over fears, they first start out as a like far distance away from the thing they fear, and then move like closer and closer, and just try to endure as much as they can without getting triggered, and then leave from it. But if the person just strictly outright says, I'm never going to face it, then it is an anxiety which will become more powerful for that particular trigger down the road.
Now, stating it like that, I will more agree with, because yes, the avoidance then becomes a habitual avoidance situation, and somebody with disassociative may in fact do that quite often. But the first way you said it was a little too vague, so I do thank you for your expandedness of that.
No problem. And I can relate.
So, Tyler, did you want to add? Oh, you there? Oh,
yeah, I couldn't get in earlier. My mobile, for some reason, was not connected to my headphones, so I had to set up a hotspot, grab my Surface, and all that stuff.
So what was going on with Lived and the whole Satan thing?
I couldn't read his name, so I'm guessing he was the same person who was in the live chat as Julius Lex.
Yes.
And we were talking about G-Man, and I was giving a few facts about the Church of Satan, the official Levian Church of Satan, and the fact that all things that call themselves Satanic Church and Church of Satan are not the same thing. And he came in pretty hot and bothered about that. So everybody was kind of laughing at it and correcting him and telling him to chill the hell out. And he went off the rails. So since he wasn't responding to questions and wasn't clarifying any of his statements, Christina decided to time him out, which was kind of annoying because I had a whole thing planned. I was going to give him this eloquent final warning and then time him out.
I know I was waiting for it. I saw it set up.
I was about to hit enter and she didn't. So that was kind of frustrating. But yeah, I don't know what he kept saying. Scroll back the chat. We were all kind of laughing at him and correcting him, and it was a lot of fun actually until he got all upset and then came in here.
Yeah, I don't know Liv's story that
bait and joined.
He likes to shotgun a lot of stuff, and then when you kind of backtrack to hold him accountable for some things he says, he just moves away from it rather than addressing why he said what he said, or he just oh, you're right, and then takes it back. But it's often with that. I've noticed that. I'm not sure why he does that.
I have no idea, and I was really interested in his statement that Anton LaVey regretted something on his deathbed. I really wanted to find out what that was, what he was talking about, and see what
I think
sort
he
of
pulled it out of
evidence
his
he had for
ass.
it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I believe that. I mean, I read the Satanic Bible, but I mean, I don't know much about LaVey per se, just for what I've read in the past. But I think he did. I think he did not want to have anything to do with Opus Dei. Is that correct?
I have no idea.
But that had nothing to do with.
Opus. Oh, sorry. I was just about to explain what Opus Dei is.
It's a religious organization called the Holy.
It's
Holy Order.
It's an offshoot of Catholicism that's a lot more into personal atonement by. Sometimes they flagellate themselves. Sometimes they do it through a thing called assist. If you ever watched Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, the monk in that is part of Opus Dei.
Yeah, the prelature of the Holy Cross.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a subset of the Roman Catholic Church.
It's the version of it.
Something
But anyways,
everybody has to realize about Church of the Living Church of Satan and Anton LaVey is all designed to troll Christians.
Right, I get that.
Don't believe any of the magic. It's all what's called psychodrama, which is designed to enhance your own personal identity, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I have to go, guys, so I'm going to go back into the live chat and back to running the facility. So, see ya.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yeah, I think what happened was, and I've noticed again before, that he probably said something like, "Oh, LaVey would go on his deathbed," to try to imply that he regretted being a Satanist because he saw God, just before his last moments.
Well,
something like that. That's how. Because I've heard people say shit like that before, right?
Yeah, it's the whole bullshit attempting to take ownership of the quote-unquote bad person at the end by doing a deathbed confession bullshit.
They do that with Darwin too, right?
Oh, everybody. They even do it with Galileo and every.
Darwin recanted, and he said Darwinism was all wrong and that evolution's false.
Yeah, there was some lady who really took it off and tried to make a coin from it, but no, how he said it was he regretted he had regrets, only too late. That whole trailing, let your mind fill in the gap.
Yep.
Emotional storytelling. I mean, he pulled it out of his ass. All he wants is to be King Dick in the room.
You know, it's funny, after you do this for a while, you kind of see all these different things, and you notice these kind of things.
Hey, Steve, here's the irony. When Anton LaVey died, he died of a pulmonary edema, and he was taken to a Catholic hospital because it was the closest available.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't have cared. Medical is medical. I don't think he would have given.
I know, but you understand though. You went to of all things, he went to a Catholic hospital.
Yeah.
Was there a satanic
because it was
hospital?
the closest one where he was.
So, does anybody in particular know how long lived has been of his current position of being an independent? Was it a Christian? Like,
I don't know.
Well, he didn't fully state. That's the
he
thing.
said person of faith.
Yeah. Now it's implied strongly that it's Christianity because that's how his argumentation hints at. But yeah, he didn't really say.
Yeah, it is. No, I know that much. But he's come in before, and he's come in before, and he said he asked the same questions, which I think is kind of odd. And I like Lived. I mean, I'm not talking shit about him, but it's just weird that he's asked about the Big Bang like 3 times in 3 different hangouts, and each time he uses the same flawed understanding, and it just doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
I just noticed
how long has Lived been coming around the hangouts?
2 months.
New?
2 months.
Yeah, so he's probably relatively new to a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
and doesn't see that a lot of this stuff's been already talked about, rehashed, beaten to death, kicked and buried.
He doesn't come off as like intellectually headstrong, like presuming that he knows things. He sounds to me like he's trying to learn, but that he also, I think it's just everything that is defensive posturing in the sort of way that you're pointing out, Paranor, is that I see that in the major culture, like the dysfunction of culture to leave us feeling like we should be ashamed of correcting ourselves. We should be ashamed to accept any like possible
exactly
kind of kickback. But the thing with it is it sounds to me, and I'm purely speculating, it sounds like he's in a transitionary period of learning how to
have this sort of rational dialogue, where
building
in the
his
normal
character.
society he's used to is much more defensive, and very few people even care to make a rational argument to support themselves.
I can explain him quite easily. He's building his character. I went to theater school. You do this sort of thing, and this is his training. He's refining his character. He's got the authoritarian, punk ass, which he thinks is good because probably I'll say because of he's probably in a black neighborhood, quote unquote black culture. There's a lot more posturing in a very visual sense than there is with Caucasian areas.
You notice he turns on his camera when he makes it when he's trying to get.
Oh hell yeah! And that was a threat he'd made. No, but he's the game he's playing is just the authority, just the control the emotional state, speak for others, and just a.
No. See, here's the thing. I don't read it like that. Like I'm reading. This is a person who's trying to it's like a kid trying to test the waters, for example, right? Like when I first
definitely, and that's what building the character is about.
Let me finish this explanation. Like when I first learned profanity, right? I got in a lot of trouble because I just kept wanting to learn, okay, how does this word get used? How do I apply it here or there? And so what adults around me would see is not only a kid who's using curse words when kids aren't supposed to, but they also saw it get used in excessive ways, right? I think with I'm guilty of the same thing. This is why I'm kind of empathizing with him here, or I've been guilty of it, where you come into an area that you're completely unaware of. It's just a completely new population to socialize with, and you make a claim, right? And people go, "Oh, wait, you're wrong about that." Well, then the reflex is to go like, "Oh, wait, hey, I'm just saying what I'm giving the best response that I know of here, so I don't know what you're all up on my ass about." I feel like that is how he's approached these situations, and that if you're careful to let him know that it's okay to correct himself and just be a little more Socratic about it, then there's no raising of red flags or anything like there just
no, and I do agree with you. He's using that, and I did want to get back to it. And you're right. We are culturally North America, I'll say, because I'm Canadian. That, and I've spoken of it before, is the religious infusion into the North American culture, and that is the conjoining of responsibility and blame. Which are two separate things. Thank you very much. Because you can be responsible for something and blameless, because blame is mostly a projection upon the one throwing the blame, which is lived shtick, right? And that's why I say he goes the authoritarian track, but he's using that personal offense, the victimhood, the SJW, whatever you want to call it, because we're getting to a point where everybody can be told you're wrong and held accountable in every moment, thanks to the internet. So everybody's going off.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think, and he's just testing the waters. I haven't lived. I know a lot of people find him a little bit bloviating, and he can get a little long-winded. But he says, I don't think he's, when people come into the community, not everybody understands how to really have a dialogue, and not everybody understands it. It's an art form to have a communication with people. It really is. And you have to kind of read people. You kind of have to know the ebb and flow. You have to know when you try to interject and when to kind of back off. It's a learned thing. I mean, you have to actually learn this. Do you not agree?
Oh, definitely. But I think you're reading him wrong, because I think he's already got that.
Think so?
I do, because with what he's talking about with trying to have a rational, he's flipping the script entirely. So he understands, the projections he throws are exactly what he wants to get out of the person, rather than, what actually is, which is why and I understand what you're talking about. And you have to give leeway, charity, and all that. And some of you charity. However, I've been doing this since the old IRC days, And I know when somebody's
I remember the
coming
IRC.
in to be an ass. Yeah, I used to be an admin, within 30 seconds, I knew who were the troublemakers just with the way the word choice. So, I mean, as soon as he started there, I mean, everybody saw it. But I mean, you knew he came in with guns loaded, but there's an intention with him, and that's the thing.
Yeah, you might have a point.
That's why I say it's a character,
you're
because
right.
he's staying on that one position and that one characterization. Not so when you throw different topics at him, he uses that same characterization. It is using the victimhood, the guilt. You're made to feel guilty for being wrong, and that's his curmudgeon. That's his authority. That's my thought.
Yeah, no, I think
So
that's a valid point.
Are you suggesting that he's intentionally trolling?
No.
Yeah, no, he's intentionally being that character.
Trolling, but yeah. Hey, Tyler says everybody should be required to spend a year in customer service job and take a basic business communications course before allowed to interact online. It's funny.
Yes.
Tyler, since you say that, can you? I mean, I'm not trying to stroke my ego here. I'm just saying, can you say that if you didn't really know my background, could you tell that actually my most of my history after I got in the Navy was in customer service jobs? And I don't mean like McDonald's. I mean like customer service managers, district managers. I was a ADM for a cell phone company. Senior location manager. So I've dealt with the people. You have to deal with customers, and it is something you acquire. Learning to deal with customers is not that much different than learning to deal with people on Hangouts. It really is very similar. But I'm just wondering, can you tell that I've at least had some experience with customer service? Because how else are you going to moderate Hangouts if you haven't know how to deal with people?
Exactly.
Let me talk to your manager, Steve.
Fuck off! I am the manager. That's my favorite thing when there's somebody like, well, can I talk to your supervisor? Be like, bitch, I am the supervisor. Who's above you? No one. I'm the district fucking manager. Go fuck yourself. No, I never had a problem. When I was an ADM, I never had a bad customer, so I never actually be like that. The only worst customers is actually when I was what's called a customer service area supervisor. Is in charge of the entire customer service, and you could do whatever you took to take care of a customer, and I appreciated that. And all you had to do when questioned, why did you do this, is you give them the other person, like the store manager, the explanation of why you took that decision. But you would have customers that were just so fucking egregiously offensive, and there are times where you reach a limit and you say like, I'm done with this conversation. I'm no longer helping you, and most of the time they'll stick. Oh, I got music playing. Who keeps playing this music? Can't have music in here. Yeah, so when they reach that limit, when you damn well do, you better have a good chain of command that backs you on it, right? Like, for example, when somebody threatens legal action, your conversation with them is over in retail. You're like, let me refer you to the legal department, and they no longer can talk to you about it. When you say, I cannot talk to you about this because you mentioned legal action. I've only had to do that a couple times when the person was completely being a absolute dick. Like, for example, one time, this guy, I'm not lying. This was over 10 cents, right? 10 cents, right? Bear this in mind through the story. It's not long, but it's 10 cents. What happened was we would have occasionally what's called tax-free days. And basically, as you know, as I do in retail, taxes always are paid upon sales tax, right? Government gets their money. So what we did was compensate for that. You take off 10%, right? And so taxes was like 8 point something. You can't eliminate the sales tax, off a ticket. Unless it's a no sales tax ticket, which is for like Indian land management, government, something like that could have a no sales tax. But for a regular person, you can't take off the sales tax. So what you do is you have to discount the product to pay for the tax. And this is annotated. So tax-free day is annotated by they're paying for the tax by giving you a discount on the product. There came out to be a discrepancy of 10 cents one time on somebody's ticket because of this. And it was actually in their favor, right? It was in their favor. So it wasn't like we just give them 10 cents. But they were like, you can't be doing this because there's not exactly sales. You're not eliminating sales tax, and it's misleading. And I'm trying to explain to them, you're getting a benefit here. This was, we're giving you a 10% discount to compensate for the 8% sales tax. So effectively, the sales tax is being covered by the discount. Perfectly legal. And of course they're like, no, this is illegal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, after like arguing with this person, I'm like, I cannot explain it to you any simpler. I've done you the math. I've showed you come out ahead. And I have to refer this to the legal department. And of course, he called on the customer service phone. They basically told him to fuck off. If you want to take, legal recourse, he could. But I mean, this is the.
So wait, Steve. If I understand you correctly, the argument was that they paid less than they should have.
Yes,
because you gave them more discount.
Yes.
Than what the tax
because 10% is greater than 8%, obviously.
Yeah, so they paid 2% less.
Which could be like literally like a dime or something.
And they wanted to pay you the money.
No, but
you were refusing to take it.
No. They didn't want to pay the money. They wanted. They were saying, even though they came out ahead, which they finally recognized, it did come into their favor. Initially they didn't. At that point, we're so further down the line that they were just like, well, this is illegal because you're saying that you're having a tax-free day. Well, it's not tax-free day. It's a different discount. I'm like, we're explaining you to this. It's noted as this. It's perfectly legal. But this is. I mean, again, customers can be fucking amazing sometimes.
Steve, some people here have heard the story before from me.
Then why do they want to hear it again? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I said some, I think Darren's heard it once before.
Be my guest.
So I worked in a call center where we did internet banking. The website was updated because of security, because of Windows XP no longer being supported, and just other things changing on the internet. I had a customer call in and ask me why his operating system and browser will not work with the website. And I explained to him what's happened, and he would need to upgrade from XP to, I believe it was Windows 7 or greater. And his argument to me was, it's not that he couldn't upgrade the computer, it's why does he need to do it? Why is it required?
Because older browsers, newer browsers.
Well, I don't have any. I've given him my stock answer already. There's no answer left to give him.
Yeah.
Then he says the L word, lawyer. At which point I transfer him to a team lead and get rid of it.
Yeah, that's
even the team lead was laughing. Like, this guy's problem is he wants to know why he has to upgrade his computer. Yes,
my computer's 12 years old.
Why does he need to do it?
Yeah. Why? Wait a minute. This program requires 4 gig of RAM, and I only have 1. Why do I have to upgrade to 4 gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, I've seen a lot of things in retail. I mean, horror stories. I even had one guy. He bought some socks, went back to Germany, and he mailed back one sock, not even a pair, one sock because it had a hole in it, and wanted a full refund put to his ticket.
Okay, Steve.
Where do you find these people?
No, Steve, you missed something critical there. You said he bought socks and went back to Germany.
Yeah.
So he was a German tourist?
I would assume so.
Yes.
He mailed it from Germany. Who knows what the shipping would cost?
That's why he mailed the sock back to you.
No, he mailed...
Because it's got a hole in it.
Yeah, he mailed a sock back. We had a package with one sock in it with a hole from a guy named in Germany that said he wanted a full refund on his credit card because one of them had a hole in it. I don't know what he paid for the shipping.
It doesn't matter. You know how you deal with it? You send him a letter now explaining this in order to obtain the refund. You have to send the entire product pack, so you would need to send us the other sock as well.
And yeah, no, sir, you need you need to find the missing piece with the hole from the hole. No, actually, there's a rip. But
no, not the hole, but you need the other sock to make the pair.
I don't know, man.
The thing is, he will send you that sock.
Oh my god.
When I was working retail back in 95 days, the guy brought his computer back 3 times. Couldn't figure out what was going on with it. Had to reinstall all 3 times. The last time they figured it out. So the next time when he brought his computer in, said, "Sir, what are you doing with your computer when you get it home?" Well, I go in, check, and see everything's okay, and then, clear off anything that's not wanted, and okay, what do you clear off?
Windows System 32?
Exactly,
yeah,
the Windows directory, because he has the disk that's on the screen, so he doesn't need it on the hard drive.
No, I'm telling you.
They think they're authorities.
No, I've seen it all, baby. I've seen so much shit in retail. Just the stupidest thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going back to Brenda in the live feed real quick. I guess Gus went off on her, but didn't get really detail as to why. But Brenda was going off on Shamos, as I mentioned earlier, and hardcore too.
Well, that'd be entertaining.
Yeah, and then they made lovey dovey. But yeah, I think it's just
they had some KFC.
She had some KFC together. I think she's just losing it. I mean, people have told her, maybe you just need to take a break from the great debate community because she's like, oh, all these people in the great debate are so fake and they're just promoting their own intelligence by making fun of others. No, I make fun of others because it's funny and it's entertaining because I really can't.
Steve,
stand the
I
shit
make
that's
fun of
talked
you
about.
all the time.
And I make fun of him. We make fun of each other.
When somebody does a dumbass thing, yeah.
I have a very thick skin, right? I don't take people jesting at me personally. I encourage it. I jest back to them, right? The only thing I take personally when somebody tries to fuck with my channel, right? That's a different thing. If you want to call me anything you want, be my guest. You can come in here and sit there and say whatever you want to me. I just don't like people spamming, and I don't like people trolling. But you can call me anything you want. That's not trolling. Trolling is basically not having a conversation. As long as you're having a conversation, you can say I'm a fucktard, whatever. I don't give a shit. But it has to be a two-way conversation. That's that's the difference between a conversation and trolling. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, especially, and Liv gave us a prime example of it because he'd always overtalk people, and then when somebody tried to correct him, no, you're over talking. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you don't notice, Prayer that there's only certain people when they drop into a room, everything kind of tries to fall apart, right? You get a lot of over talking. Most of the time, we can sit here and have conversations all day long and not have a single person over talk, except for the occasional, random loud kind of shit. Other than that, it doesn't happen, right?
Oh yeah, but he uses it as intentionally. That's
I don't think he's aware of it,
he
though.
purposely does it.
Do you think he's aware of it?
Oh, I do.
Really? I don't know.
I do. Yeah.
I would give him the benefit of the doubt. You may be right.
When he came on camera.
You may be right.
When he came on camera, he did a bad thing. He showed his face. And that spoke volumes of macro and micro expressions. And oh boy, he's a...
Boys, like Shamos never challenged me on the Luke 2 census debate we're supposed to have. I remember that with Luke 2 census debate that you had offered with him, Floyd. But I think Doctor's right. Shamos is the most hypocritical person I know. He sits there in Tom's Hangout bitching about the great debate community and how they're all a bunch of whiny hypocrites. And yet he's probably the king of whiny hypocrites. Isn't that like extremely hypocritical? There's something about Inception going on there that the biggest hypocrite is talking about hypocrisy. Amazing.
Thank you, Mark Anoia.
Thank you, Mark Anoia.
There's a lot of hypocrites on both sides in this.
I agree, but see, that's one of the things I try to be consistent. I'm like the anti-hypocrite. I mean, I have 315 videos or something like that. I have not changed that much in any of these videos. Okay, I've learned. I may have modified certain things. I think that's called growing. But I'm certainly not have a hypocrite. I don't say one thing in one video and then change it in the next. You've watched my shit for a long time, Brandon.
Well, it isn't even so much that you've changed; is your interests have expanded.
True. Well, yeah, but I mean, if I made a mistake or something, I've corrected myself. But
you've not changed your base,
right? I mean,
of how you interact. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've watched a lot of my shit. Have I really, said anything in one video and then completely and demonstrably said something completely, different, like Matt Bell always seems to do? No, I don't think so. Matt Bell changes on a dime.
Well, there are definitely levels to it, but Matt Bell's whole thing is dishonesty. So
yeah, I agree with you. He's contrarian.
But in a fashion, but he's.
Wait, Matt Bell's from Scotland, isn't he?
Correct.
Yes. Don't be racist. Matt Bell is a domineering fucker. He wants to have himself laying on top of you with his dick out.
Yeah.
Basically. So there's a little more to Matt Bell than just being a contrarian. But hey.
Leighton Bacon, he says that I noticed Brenda is so social justice that she will defend any views if said by a feminist. Again, I want to have a hangout just one day on social justice, but I have to do a little more research as far as I have my ducks in a row. To have
or you can just let it be a shit show.
Maybe.
Here's SJWs in a nutshell. We will fight for your right. Which ones can we take?
Well, I mean, I wish we could get somebody like maybe Undoomed or somebody, and I'll find somebody that is more of a person on YouTube that deals more with social justice than I do, to come in and kind of have a social justice hangout.
Try Armored Skeptic.
Try Gary Edwards.
I mean, I've communicated with all these guys before. They don't know who I am really, but I have talked to Armored, tweeted to Armored Skeptic and I'm Doomed, and they responded, but they don't know who I am.
You know that.
I haven't tried too
If you're
hard.
interested in having a conversation, then that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, no,
or you could try to get Gary Edwards if you go through either Ozzy or Alex Malpass, because Gary Edwards has a whole host of collections of videos that are dedicated to explaining why Steve Shives is wrong and why Foxy doesn't understand her particular brand of feminism.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not a big Steve Shives fan either. So.
If you want to talk to Armored Skeptic, just make a wild, fallacious criticism of him and everything he stands for.
Hey, Armored Skeptic, you have your head up your ass. You're a fucking flaming homo. You suck donkey dick, man.
He won't come on my channel because, you know.
No,
just get a living now for criticizing him, and he'll come back.
But
you gotta hear this shit, man.
I'll make a total flame video for Armored Skeptic, tell him what a piece of shit he is, and then be like at the end, "No, bro, I love you, man. Just want to get your attention." He'd be like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna kill your channel." He'll step on me like a bug.
Nah.
No, I don't even know if some of these guys, like I said, I found out that some people watch my channel more than I had actually known. They just don't engage, but they are aware of me, so that's good, I guess.
I bet you a lot of people. I bet you a lot more people pay attention than you guys may realize. Most people they'll go to the chat though, and they'll, most people they rarely probably come on to your panels when you give the invite.
Well, they just drop on by. I mean, we have Aaron dropped on by, and PZ Myers I invited, and he dropped on by. Vadom's supposed to drop on by, Creationist Cat's owner. He's going.
So then it takes courage.
But they just kind of pop in when they feel like popping in.
Yeah.
So, but I want my channel to be known as the open hangout forum that anybody can go to and have a conversation. That's what I want my channel to be known for.
There's few of them like that.
I think so too.
You're one
of
of
the few to do that.
stipulations.
What's that, Doc?
I said with a couple of stipulations.
Well, there's always stipulations. I mean,
no G-Man and no talk about race.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So, one, I mean, you can't.
Well, then that means you can never have that social justice commentary.
You can never have 100% security and 100% freedom at the same time, right? So, I mean, you have to give up some things. So, to have freedom of speech, we have to give up certain things. And I won't allow G-Man in here for one reason. Only one reason. The bullhorn. If he would say, Steve, I swear, as my Christianity on the soul of myself, whatever, that I'll never use the bullhorn again, I would let him back in. But he has no desire to come in.
Really? He's already committed 2 heresies and renounced Christianity, so why would you take him in?
I know he's a polytheist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a polytheist.
He's the chocolate atheist polytheistic Christian.
Yeah. So. And the other one was, what was the other one you mentioned?
Bitter chocolate.
What's the other condition? Oh, no, race. Racial talks can come up every so often, but it's just like I'm not going to sit here and indulge people like Iron Nation and Dionysus.
Yeah, I know what you mean by it. It's like these are sensible restrictions, but it's not like open format like Nadia's used to be.
No,
you can't be reasonable with unreasonable people.
Right.
Excuse me. Can you hear me? Yeah.
And the other condition is Pseudo is never allowed to talk. That's the other condition. We just mute Pseudo every time he opens his mouth.
Actually, I haven't been muted up the entire hangout.
I only had to mute once, but that's only I only mute when I have 3 or 4 people talking and I have to get control of the room. Other than that, I mean, very rarely. I may mute once or twice in like a week. I mean, at most, maybe in a month. I mean, how often do I mute? I mean, you go to Contra Posse, they're muting every other second. What's that, Liv?
I don't see you do it. Like it seems to me like you guys wanted a few that at least you'll let the discussion progress, albeit as long as, like he said, as long as it's reasonable.
Well, I had to mute you once,
but
but
a lot of people.
It was just a lot of people were, over.
I didn't take I understood that 1,000% if such a thing existed. I understand it totally.
Yeah, no, I'll let people talk But anyways, I'm gonna go make some more coffee. Frank has joined us. Hey, Frank.
What up?
What up?
What's up?
Tyler's like, this channel's about Steve motherfucking McCrae. Damn right, bitches. Hey, by the way,
I hope that was intentionally done just because we finished talking about how we can have a reasonable conversation like productive adults.
Yeah, well, we were wrong.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll throw this out there. If anybody wants to play a game with me called All Points Bulletin, and you want to go, have some talk shit fest, because you can actually like talk shit to your opponents and shit like that. Voice over IP. It's a fun game. So if anybody plays All Points Bulletin or wants to, let me know. Just tell me when you're on, and you can join our clan. It's me, Dragnot, and Vincent.
And I got embarrassed. I tried to play Madden or one of these fucking video games with my little cousins, and they had that the Xbox thing where they're online talking to people. I'm getting my ass handed to me, and I got like a 12-year-old.
Oh yeah,
in Idaho somewhere talking shit like, "Yeah, you bitch."
They do. I swear to God.
All I could do, man. I'm the middle-aged guy now. All I could do is just hold my head down.
Shame.
I'm trying to do Street Fighter codes on there. He's like, "You bitch, in your face, in your face."
12-year-old's like, "Yo, bitch, I done owned your ass, motherfucker." I'm like, holy shit.
This is what happened, and they run it. They're all like they're like sixth graders, man, and they just beat you down, man.
They're good at no shit, man. I give them.
You can't beat them like.
No, they.
I forgot what that because in my day we had arcades.
Oh yeah, I'll fuck them up and Pat Man and Astro.
Yeah, but you see, back in the day we had arcade, you couldn't smack talk your opponent because they were standing less than 2 feet away.
Well, we had an arcade over here at Willis Point. Like we used to have the
you'd
arcade.
probably get decked if you did, right?
Yeah,
well, the game hall, like that's what I try to tell them. Like they call them gamers today. Like all the kids that used to go to the arcade by Willis Point Shea Stadium, the old stadium. There weren't no pussies in there. Like after midnight. And it was all video games. And you're right. If you talk shit, you get yapped in the mouth. But it was fun. Like you would really, you had to have skill and everything. Today with the kids, they're brutal, man.
Yeah,
like,
I was a Donkey Kong and Zine. Was it Zaxxon? Those are my warrior games.
I fell off with Mortal Kombat. As soon as Mortal Kombat came out,
Finish him.
I was like I got finished.
Get
like
over
that
here.
was my obsolete year. That was the year I became obsolete.
Yeah, that's
Defender
true.
was kind of cool too.
Yeah, when you get smack talked from a 12-year-old, you probably need to find another game.
And he's winning, and he's right. All you do is just dip your head, like
you're like, I just got owned. I got my ass handed to me by a 12-year-old.
You're describing my Saturday right now. Is what you're doing.
You try to Google and try to find cheat codes and shit, it still don't work.
You're like, kid, I'm gonna fucking hunt you. He's like, what?
I thought I did something spectacular. Next thing I know, it was first down, bitch. God damn. What Journey say? Wheel in the sky keeps on turning, right? You get old.
Well, it's like I'm one of these days. I'm just be like, I'm gonna be one of those kids. If I could tell you I don't have a lot of money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills that I've acquired over a long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. That's one of my favorite quotes. I will hunt you. I will find you. And I will kill you. That's just.
No.
I love that.
Here's my best game moving line. Do you want to play a game?
Oh God.
Oh, that's what makes you scared when you hear that.
Fitz Jamie asked, "What is my channel? What will be my channel about?" What do you mean, Fitz Jamie? What will be your channel about? I don't think it's always been.
I think she's trying to say what your topic will be about, like.
My topic?
Like, are you going in a particular direction with the channel? No, it's going the same way. It's just
more open.
Let's focus on Clown Car Posse bullshit.
Yeah, let's focus on Young Earth. Although I will be getting back to that at some point. But I'm not really focused on the Clown Car Posse. Matter of fact, it's been 2 weeks now. I don't think we've really mentioned any of them at all. I mean, they come in.
Well, that's good. Well, they've been mentioned only in like insulting remarks to other people.
Yeah, just
like
in
it's
pass.
Insulting to be compared to Ronnie or something.
But I mean, then again, they haven't really said much this year already. I mean, I think
they should be ignored.
They
by this time.
Have they? Not really. I mean,
mostly it's them complaining about Ronnie getting Dumb Fuck of the Year.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's an awesome.
Apparently, we
title.
think that this is like some serious and legitimate award. That
Who came up with that?
That's Red's Rhetoric's award.
You guys need to like get in contact with GGN News or something like that. You guys got to go mainstream with that.
Well,
that is awesome. You got to start giving that award out to politicians.
But the people that get voted for Dumb Fuck of the Year are only they're only like local people. I mean, like people in our own community and things like that.
I bet you that would catch like wildfire.
Hey, do we know?
You guys need to get up.
Hang on, I don't know this person. So, hey, Tuned, who are you? Just FYI. Tuned.
You can type in a side chat.
You can type in the
Speak
side
with the
chat. Your mic's not working.
If we can hear something.
Yeah, we can hear something, but I don't think your mic's working. I heard cough.
You heard a cough.
I would be careful, Steve.
No, they can't get sniped. This is an unsnipeable hangout. And I have the video turned all the way down, so they can't even show anything.
Despite their efforts.
Yeah, they're using some sort of voice thing.
About that.
Yeah, tune either your mic or using a voice modulator that's not working. So either reload or I eject you in 5 seconds. Or
no, fuck you.
All right, there you go. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That, you know that sounded
See
like.
what I mean?
Wait. That sounded like Down's Corner.
Oh, jeez.
So
hey, Down Corner. Hey, go fuck yourself.
Despite his efforts, the idiot couldn't snipe the hangout.
Yeah, you can't snipe this hangout, dumbass.
Wait, what?
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Down Corner, because you know what? You can't snipe this bitch.
I don't think that was Down.
It
But
sounded like him.
close, but no. No, Down's got a little more of a baritone squeal to him when he goes high pitched.
Who's John H? Yeah, John H, I don't know who you are, and I am closing this out.
They may be the best. They may be the best proponents for their type of dumb shit. It's like to actually let them have a 5-second bit or something, and you hear how retarded.
Yeah, I'm locking,
some of their
I'm
arguments
locking the
are.
hangout until over because I don't want to sit there and respond to people. But yeah, you can't snipe this hangout, dumbasses.
How does that whole snipe shit works? Like, where people just come in and start ejecting people?
No, Google actually, it's actually part of the system.
Yeah.
It's
So you don't have to have like mod powers to do that?
No, what it is
No.
basically it's using
No.
in the external chat a way to remove people, which is perfectly acceptable, it seems, to G+, but this doesn't generate that kind of outside chat, so you can't snipe this hangout.
Right.
That's why I have a business.
I never understood it because I went on a few panels and I've seen that keep coming up. Like people like, yo, we have a sniper. I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then I got dropped.
How it would work would be people would go to like hangouts.com and from there you can see the actual internal hangout chat just for people who have been invited to the hangout, and there's a little X beside their name and you can remove them. And for some reason Google thought that was an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm sure they're going to correct that.
No, it's an intended feature. They're not fixing it.
Yeah, and it's not so much.
Maybe it's a big ass mirror.
I
like
am
a
broadcasting
social-
through XSplit, but that's not what makes it unsnipeable. That's an extra added protection that I have. I have to approve people to come in, and 2, I can turn the video all down so they can't even show anything. It doesn't even show anything but their icon. So
I like this. I like this thing that you got here, like the way your screen is this time, where it looks like the little TV box.
Yeah, I
That's
got that
pretty
one. And
cool.
I'm gonna change it up a little bit here in a second. Every so often, people get bored, so I got to change it every so often. So I'm glad you mentioned something. So let me go to. I like this.
You
one.
need to move it to the left.
The conversation isn't stimulating enough. We now need the visual stimulation, so we have to keep the pictures changing.
You like? I know you like to be visually stimulated. Dirty
You know it.
you.
Tell me more.
There's more than one way to earn tokens.
Hey, $20.
Jeez.
$20 make you holler.
See.
Yeah, then I'm gonna have the chat in here in a second. Hang on. See, I like the fact you can just change all this on the fly. It's kind of nice. Now, you guys don't see it
Yeah.
in the internal, but if you're watching the live feed, you can actually see what I'm doing.
I'd imagine over the next 60 days, people just generally, you're probably going to get all types of like strangers, people who don't know anything about this, because people are going to be in such an uproar and they want to have an outlet. They're going to look for anything. And so whoever's live, if you allow hangouts, you're going to get a lot of people.
Well, again, I
Not
have to
necessarily
approve
all
people to come in,
assholes.
though. See, that's the thing, though. I mean, you can't just join this hangout even if you got the link.
Right, you have to request, you have to ask.
They ring the doorbell.
Yeah, but like if crazy people want an outlet, I'm sure that they'll be.
They have the internet. They don't need to come here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like on the internet, I think all of you guys who have, platforms like this or whatever, you're probably going to see an uptick.
I guess I can change the
No, we
message.
we saw an
Why are they-
uptick of it when it got discovered. That's when the uptick happened. That was you're behind the times. That was what, year ago that
I'm definitely
picture got put
behind.
in.
I didn't find out about any of this until the end
That
of
was 8 months
last
ago
summer.
when the whole sniping thing started.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But
Yeah,
knew it was close to a year. But
I didn't even start doing them until like the beginning of September.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Hey, Prudent. Sorry, drop in. Didn't ignore you there, buddy.
No.
I do have a question.
Go ahead. I'm gonna make some
for
coffee.
you, Steve.
Oh, I was gonna make another cup of coffee.
Shit.
Go ahead.
All
I'll
right.
wait.
No. Get your coffee, man. You
All
see
right.
how much tea I drink.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
These things are critical.
Caffeine.
It's like me smoking joints and drinking tea. Like, it's a must if I'm doing a hangout.
You guys mentioned the Satanic Bible earlier, and I was like, I'm looking through it a bit, and it's like really weird. Just a whole bunch of
Something's gonna grab you.
ha ha ha. No, I mean, like I've looked through like bits and pieces of it like before, but never like just looked it up on myself. Because like, you know, people talk about the Satanic Commandments or whatever, and I'll see it elsewhere. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So I'm just reading through a couple of
the principles.
That's a lot of information.
I don't think they're called commandments.
Well, like Tyler said, was it Dr. Tyler said earlier? It's just a satirical, parody of Christianity, basically, or Catholicism.
Well, I would agree.
No,
whoever said that is, I would agree.
No, that's how it was. That's why it was set up. No, that's historical fact. You don't have to. Just say.
Well, Anton LaVey said he wrote the Satanic Bible in a manner to kind of express his philosophical beliefs and his ideas, and also to canonize it into some formal setting and that could be ritualized. And it was also meant directly to offend the basically what was the most vocal Christian groups at the time.
Mission accomplished.
In America, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember.
They're the most vocal Christians.
And the people who gave them the stuff to put in it were basically those vocal Christians who would be offended by it. They created it.
Yes, they did.
Well, he was the son of a pastor of literally a traveling circus troupe. And he would play the organ for the Sunday services and he found it, he took such exception to the hypocrisy of the people who would show up for mass at this circus on Sunday, even though he saw them a couple days later
on Friday
banging some neighbor
on Friday in the alley. On Friday in an alley with a hooker.
You have to make one correction, Doc. It's not a circus; it's theater. Very important distinction.
That is true.
Very important distinction, because theater will grab you. Circus is just a spectacle.
Right.
I remember when
you try getting an elephant through a stage door, honestly.
I remember when
they're shutting down.
Her name was Mary. She was 400 pounds. Don't judge.
I remember we all had those days.
I remember when I first took the chance to read a passage from the Satanic Bible, or it was at least something online that professed to be the Satanic Bible, and I remember it being just a simple story about a guy. It could have been any novel I was reading, and I just felt sick inside reading it. Every statement that was made me suspect that there was some diabolical, demonic plot going on.
Well, clearly,
it's amazing what the human mind will make you want to be reality. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, he does use very provocative language in the Satanic Bible.
Thank you.
Well, of course.
Thank you. Diction matters.
But I mean, so does honesty. Coming from the wooey side of things.
Yes, it does.
It's amazing what.
But you never got to worry.
Which you will believe for yourself, so that you feel good.
Whatever. But That is.
I'm going to have to increase my mic soon, am I?
That's pretty. And when you were reading it, like what were you like? Like it was like right when you became grown, or it was when you were a kid?
No, yeah. The sorry, I didn't realize my mic was on while I was running the water. When I was a young adult and I was just reading it online. I was in the military at the time, and
Nice.
the thing is I was of a rational enough mind to think, well, you know what? If there's anything to this, it's a new argument that I should be willing to consider. But I had so many other like superstitious beliefs surrounding the whole idea that it made me really just like judge and criticize it before I even could tell it as anything different from like just a novel. Like it could have been Archie.
Let me ask, like around the time, like if you could remember, around the time that you were reading that, like that you started doing your research, did you notice that you were also inclined to learn more about all types of other ideologies and philosophies? Like, were you reading like Plato? Where you found that you were drawn to like Machiavelli around this time? Like, were you, in other words, was this a point in your life where you found that you were, more and more inclined to do research in ancient knowledge or whatever? Like, were you more?
To be honest, as far as my story goes, I first recognized the importance of having an open mind and my love of philosophy when I was 9 years old. But I ended up gaining into Christianity anyway because it was pretty much like what was there. It was the only. Right. It was something that I could turn to as like, here's a place where people are at least on the face of it stating that they want to do what is morally good, right? Like I wanted to make an effort to do moral good things. And it wasn't until college that I even found the opportunity to be like taking classes on philosophy itself. So that wasn't until like way later when I was 26 that I actually was able to go. I ended up leaving Christianity because of information I was learning about Plato, Socrates, taking a course on ethical philosophy and just intro to philosophy, and then also learning about science at the same time. This point where I was reading the Satanic Bible was more around when I was still a Christian and about 21.
Yeah, I read that in my early 20s.
When you were like, when you were just a new young man and you started learning into philosophy and everything, did you find it, did it strike you at all? Was it distinct, any of your studies or introductions to philosophical ethics and how it was considered? Like, what do you distinctly remember how the topic of ethics brought up in philosophy or political ideology, wherever you heard of it, it was always acknowledged and then treated like it was like, more of an ideal, like not something that was real? Did you notice that? I understand
the question.
Okay, in other words, as you were studying philosophy, or as you were reading something that was about philosophy exclusively, whenever the topic of ethics was brought up, even within philosophy, did you notice, did that stand out to you, that there was a distinction?
A distinction between
the topic of ethics as a subset itself, and how it was almost treated like exactly like I said, like it's a subset.
Let me see if I can, like my best guess to what you mean. Just let me know if this is what you're saying. Like,
gotcha.
That I first was this when I took the course on like ethical philosophy. Was that the first time I realized that there was a distinct subset of philosophy of morality that was distinct from the rest of the Christians who just want to be good Christians kind of idea.
You got it. You nailed it.
You know what? It really did open the door of structuring, that concept for me. Yeah, I didn't realize that there was a ethical, like I realized ethics were a matter of philosophy, but I didn't really look at it as like in academia, like like epistemology. I didn't even know what that was until right?
I feel you. Yeah.
So it just like gave you a structure, and you recognize, wow, this is something structured and clear as opposed to the absolute nothing, just do whatever God tells you, like kind of ideas that were
the abstract way that they
before.
give it to you.
Yeah.
I try to ask that now because, you know, to stay humble and prevent, you know, my own swelling of the head, because I say I couldn't have been the only one. And I know what type of life I've lived. It's been, you know, some shit. Totally. But I said I couldn't have been the only one who has actually seen that distinction. But I always remember it. And especially when I started studying law, I started realizing every time ethics was brought up, it's just like in any other professional environment, even in the military. It's always like distinct, and it's almost treated like a Christmas ornament. Like it's there, but it's not really there. It's more like it's like a decoration.
Right.
But isn't this what the entire ethos is about? And I always looked at that, especially when I started studying law. Like, you know,
right.
Were you were in the Air Force or the
Navy?
Navy?
I was in the Air Force. Air Force.
I can hear. We can. You know, vets can hear that. And I was a Marine.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, we know each other. And I'm wondering, you say you started studying, or not study, but, you know, you started paying attention to this while you were still active. Have you ever?
Well, I was always open-minded enough, right? And so, and I had every reason to find some kind of alternative to Christianity, because I was feeling rejected by the people at the chapel that I knew. I was feeling completely unrelatable to everybody in my social circles at work. I really wasn't getting along in the Air Force at all.
Oh, of course not. Well, first, like I bet you one of the things that you said is like, it's like I'm being punished for being too smart.
You know what? I don't remember saying that, but yeah, but that is a sentiment that I always felt like.
I know. It takes one to know one.
Tortured for, socially rejected for thinking too much into things.
It's like, how dare you have the audacity to have your head screwed on? Who the fuck? You want to be different.
Did you have a question you want to ask me that lived before I left? Sorry. Lived. You were going to ask me something?
My name is Julius, man.
Julius.
I didn't hear your question.
Oh, no, you were going to ask me something before I went to, not to derail you guys' conversation, but before we get too
far. Steve, my bad, man. I know you were refueling the tanks. That's what I'm doing right now, too. So before you took off to get that, what I had thought to ask you specifically, because you're the person I thought I want to, said it. I was talking to someone, and we had a conversation about just generally the space. I guess you would say the infrastructure of NASA, like what's left of it. We understand what NASA was supposed to be, with Kennedy and all that, but what it is today. And at some point in the conversation, we got down to the point where they're telling me about how Space Shuttle has been retired. And I was saying how, I heard that there's like there's like a military, I guess like a miniaturized space vehicle, like a return vehicle that they have now.
I've seen pictures of one they're working on, yeah.
Yeah, and my question was this. With all of the quote-unquote infrastructure, aka satellites and shit that, have to be serviced from time to time, why would we, if we retired the space shuttle, does that mean that type of infrastructure is about to change? In other words,
it already has. We have SpaceX, and we have private people that can do it much, much cheaper with a much better delivery system than for the Falcon 9, right?
Right.
I mean, except for that one accident with the Falcon 9, that's got a really, really good, amazing success rate. I mean, and the explosion that happened was actually on the pad, and never even was launched.
So I guess what I'm really getting at is, when me and this person were talking, I was asking them, and I was saying, does this mean, or does it imply that there's some type of new technology that's out that has made all of this stuff obsolete? Like, in other words, is it
privatized? That's all. It's got privatized.
So the government now.
NASA's already done all the hard work that the private industry
and they just they're taking over.
All of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then this means to service classified satellites, that's going to be leased out to.
Yeah, that's been the way it always has been.
Rand Corporation or something?
No, private corporations. No, private corporations have been doing classified black ops and things like that since as long as we remember. Look at Area 51. That was built because of Lockheed Martin. That was built for them so they could develop.
It's only called Area 51 because when you look on the map, it's the grid.
Yeah.
It's the box it's in.
Yeah, I know.
They basically said, well, you need an airfield for testing this crap, right? Well, we got some equipment laying around. Let's go build you one. Where do you want to put it?
And Groom Lake was
and
a
they took
very
the
long
lake
natural
because
runway.
they could use the water in the lake to fight fires if they needed to.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
seen
politicians
something where they
call
said it was
bait.
like
Dry
a
lake.
natural. It was like a natural. Like it was like built
It was flat.
basically.
They needed a flat runway. They needed something flat for landing.
Yeah.
Need something flat and open, and the lake was nearby, and they could use the water to fight fires when they have a crash.
Was there something else you were suggesting was there, Liv?
Well, one thing at a time. I mean, this is why we don't have the space shuttle. I mean, by the way, we have better technology now. I mean, the Falcon X is a reusable system. I mean, it goes up and lands. I mean,
Right.
I mean, it's just
What I was-
it's
what I
much
actually-
cheaper than
what I
the
was
two booster
suggesting-
buckets they used to get the fucking space shuttle up. Right? Those things were massive tanks that they had to scrap.
Right. What I was suggesting to the person, I said, either a new system's gonna a new type of vehicle or something's gonna come online, or maybe it's sort of like how before we had telegraph machines, the beginning of phone wires or whatever, we had Pony Express like doing it. Maybe they see it as it's so obsolete now that they're about to.
Have you seen the Falcon 9? Yeah, the
I mean,
space
not,
shuttle's obsolete.
not personally. I've seen like the YouTube shit. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but the space shuttle's obsolete. That's why they retired it. Well, what's the question?
That wasn't the question. The question was, like, you answered it. I think I said, are they having like a new technology come on? You say no. The Falcon X is the new technology.
Falcon 9, yeah.
So I would expect leaks of them then. Like, you know what I mean? I guess
Well,
this
the
is
thing
what
is,
they do.
there's no real new technology except for the autonomous landing, right? And really, that's not technology; it's engineering.
And that's his feat, though. I mean, to have the Falcon 9 landed on a ship, for
semantic.
God's sake. How is that possible?
I know, and they did it yesterday. It was great. Oh, quite easily. All you need are sensors.
I get the gist, but I mean, it's just really an engineering marvel.
It is. I mean, so was NASA with the Saturn V. I mean, that was an engineering marvel. They've worked hard and long on this. I mean, they've got the steering fins.
I'm actually waiting to see.
Stabilize the craft and steer it. They keep a certain amount of fuel, so they're already good with the bottom heavy, so they're coming down. So all you need to do is have enough structural integrity with the legs, which they had a problem at the beginning, that they don't snap off. Right, just to be able to take that load. But it's the autonomous bit is, I think, radar and LiDAR, or is it just LiDAR? I'm not sure. LiDAR would be much quicker and to make adjustments coming down, because if you get a side wind, boom.
Can you guys hear me now?
No. We
Yeah,
can't hear you.
sure.
We actually have heard you the entire time, but we just ignore you.
You know, like where the real improvement has come is in electronics, right? Computers. Because
Miniaturization,
rocket
that's
technology is not that complicated.
I'll see
Like,
Just ask Ronnie. It's like farting birds.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like you learn nozzle engineering, like second year engineering. It's really not that complicated. But where the stabilization, however, like where they're landing boosters and stuff now, that's electronics. That's
No, I've looked at the formulas for nozzle and for the different types of nozzle configuration. It's not like basic, but it's certainly not that complicated.
It's not that complicated, but I'm just saying, like, and actually, even like as I worked on satellites, like I used to do engineering for them, and the thing is, when they do the servicing of the satellites, that's for like altitude adjustments and things like that. Like we're talking about the boosters and
because eventually
that
it's
sort
going
of
to start
thing.
decaying on the orbits.
I mean, nobody. You can send up private companies, and they're not going to see anything they're not supposed to see. Let's all talk about inside.
How often do they have to adjust these orbits? I mean, if you're in a low altitude,
maintenance.
Is he?
Hey, can I ask the engineer a question?
Yeah, am I roboting or you guys roboting? It's roboting. I don't know if it was me.
I think everything's
It's me. I'll be right back. 1 second.
It'd be me. because space is not just empty. Like there's little, like something like the size of sand that could be moving super fast and it could damage any. It could cause damage.
Yeah.
So when you guys ever send like astronauts up and they do like external, whatever walk-arounds or whatever, fly-arounds, is any of your equipment like destroyed? Like, do you guys? Is that a problem for satellites? Like, do they?
No, because like the stuff. So the stuff I worked on was the internals, right? Like muxes and things for communication satellites, and it's all. And actually, the technology is old technology. Like there's no electronic. Well, there's some electronics, but I mean, it's like you can literally. It's literally it's waveguide, which is like shooting waves through pipes. Like it's literally that basic, and it's heavily armored. So I mean, anything. I mean, you'd have to something big would have to hit
what
the
I was
satellite.
getting at. Right. That's what I was getting at, because I always wondered. I always said, yeah, we always have meteors, hit the Earth all the time.
Well, there is micrometeor damage to satellites. That does happen.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm saying, like, when we talk about going to Mars and all of this, I'm like, they must have some type of, beyond a heat shield, they must have like some type of exo armor, because you're going to encounter grains of sand everywhere.
That's not going to do it.
Not a lot.
Look,
The sand is
they
a
need
general
more radiation.
Yeah, that's
they
that's
need more
the
radiation
way what happened.
shielding.
Right.
No, what the thing is, space has a lot of stuff in it, but it's typically far apart. Sorry about that. There was an argument made a while ago about not being able to get through the asteroid belt. Well,
here we go.
Yeah, done it all the time. Well, it's a great example. I can't help it.
It's
Sorry.
like merging with traffic, people.
Exactly.
You put on the blinker, you go the same speed, and you start going through the rocks. All right.
Exactly.
The biggest
exactly.
concern is radiation.
Didn't the Voyager go beyond that? Isn't the Voyager beyond that already, or close to it?
It's next on the heliosphere.
It's in. Yeah.
Heliosphere.
Yeah.
But Liv, what happens is, the problem is when you're traveling very, very fast, like if we do get near like light speed, even a proton, which is like 1 every cubic centimeter in space, is going to hit that hull and it's going to turn into what's called non-ionizing radiation. And that non-ionizing radiation can penetrate very deep. But if you have enough shielding, then you'll be fine. So that, or you have a deflection shield like on Star Trek. But that's the concern.
So basically, everything that's going to be in space for an extended period of time has some type of, shielding, is what you're saying. Like if it's going to be
everything
moving,
has shielding of some kind, yeah. But the when you go really, really fast, you need additional shielding, which sucks because additional shielding means more energy that required to get it moving.
Because I am like in my mind, and the Voyager must look like the outside of it. All the decades it's been going, it must look like wrinkled, like aluminum foil.
Well,
right now, like
there's a couple things to point out here. A lot of this junk, the space junk that does cause damage, is from our failed or attempts at putting things in orbit or things that break up in orbit. So it's our own junk. We put it there. That's what most of it is. And not only that, we track it. So if we see a big thing and we think, that's going to hit the ISS or it's going to hit something, we move the ISS or we move that other thing so that it won't get destroyed.
And there is a lot of shit
so
up
we're
there.
constantly tracking junk.
In fact, if you watch it, I don't know the video, but I've seen a video of it, and it actually shows like to scale the Earth being a little like a pixel moving across the screen.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's like inside a cloud of near Earth or objects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got to remember, scale-wise, we're so small. We only have do you remember Tungsten Siberia? Do you remember the meteor that hit that? That scale event only happens once every couple thousand years. A grand one is like once every 100,000 years, and we're overdue for a decent strike. That is true.
Russia almost got one.
Yeah,
Russia has. Yeah, Russia. That one comes around every about 50 to 60 years. The one those ones that came over Russia. That was actually one of them actually struck with a force of, I believe it was about 20 kilotons. I mean, it was exceptionally high. Unfortunately. Fortunately, it didn't hit the ground. If it breaks up, if it comes in an altitude angle such as going to blow up in the sky, it's going to cause damage to the ground by shattering and shockwave. But it doesn't actually impact the ground. That's if it impacts the ground, then you're fucked. If something the size of a Volkswagen would basically take out a city, right?
I would be scared either way. I think they should find something, because even the policy for nuclear exchange doesn't require anything to strike. It's always airburst.
Right,
so
because you maximize your energy.
You know what I mean?
NASA needs a bigger budget because they only can fund about what 5% of the time,
if that,
or 5% of the sky. Sorry,
Yeah,
if that exactly.
Yeah.
And their budget is how puny next to, let's say, the War Machine.
I agree, and
Yes,
I think that we're kind of
biased. Yes, I'm admitting it.
I think that we are underestimating the potential for a strike. Maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe in our great grandchildren's lifetime.
It doesn't matter. It is a known
Everybody, we all
fact
watched.
that it
What was
will
that?
happen. No, it is a known fact that it will happen.
Yeah, the probability
What
is
was that
one.
we were watching? We
I looked
watched
into this. The
what was
probability.
that? Jupiter. We watched.
Yeah,
I think
but
it
that's
was
a big planet.
Shoemaker Levy, right?
Yeah, Shoemaker Levy.
That would have been the end. That would have been the end, right there.
Jupiter is a little different.
The odds of you dying in a meteor is 1 in 160,000 annually. Now that you got to remember that's aggregate though, right? Doesn't mean that every year somebody's going to die, because it's very rarely that somebody's going to die. Nobody's died in a meteor strike in recorded history, I don't think. They've been struck, right? But they haven't died. But if you take the events,
lately,
what's that?
Got hit supposedly.
Brimstone.
I think there was a guy that was in Pakistan or India.
Fire and brimstone.
God, I hate being interrupted like that for no reason. He got hit on the top of the head. It came down through the roof and then plop. Yeah, I see you enjoying interrupting and thinking that it really gets at me, but I wanted to say it just to point it out so people can.
Yeah, people have been struck. I don't know of any
themselves.
fatalities though from a direct meteor strike. But what it does is it takes the average of how many times we've been hit by meteors, and then distributes that over annually. So any given year, there's a 1 in 160,000 chance of you dying from a meteor strike.
So while we're having this discussion, I don't know if you guys can see it in my feed. Yeah, it's well, no, it's not Scotch, it's Canadian whiskey.
Okay.
But
Nice.
The ice that I've got is from molds of let me see. Oh yeah. It was TIE fighters. No, I think they're X-wings and Millennium Falcon ice molds. Kind of hard to tell at this point.
Were you here when Paul was in here?
Nice.
No.
I mean, Paul was a big deal with Lucas. I mean, he actually was the director of Lucas Online. He's a big Star Wars muckety muck. He worked on many of the films.
Our local fanboy in the group, I see.
I'm not a fanboy.
Hey, what's your name, man? Airman.
I'm a
What's your name?
Which one?
Airman. You, the Air Force.
Oh, me. Steve.
What's going on, Steve? Oh, you're another Steve.
Yeah, but I had it first. He's just following
Technically,
me.
he's a brother, though. Air Force brother. He's got wings.
What? Wait a minute, you're a Marine.
And a chair.
Right?
Yeah, I am a Marine.
Yeah, well, I'm Navy, so we have more common than a fucking Air Force.
Oh, shit. We do. I didn't know you were Navy.
Yeah,
I thought you were.
we paid your guys'
when
fucking
pick up.
paychecks.
Excuse me. I brought out that
6
squid
years Navy,
rage.
Yeah.
It's like, as you were, Marine.
As you were, Marine.
My bad.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I do have a lot. I mean,
well, we're all
I give
family
mad
anyway.
props
Like,
to
either
anybody
way.
that served in the military and that got out honorably or anything other than dishonorably. But I mean, I give mad props to people. It takes a hell of a strong character to serve in any military branch. It doesn't matter which one you pick.
Well, I even
and it's harder for you hear him. He said, like, that's why I said to him. I said, did you find that it was like you're being punished because your eyes are open? He's like, yeah, actually.
That's what's funny.
I was going to ask you, man, like the guy in the Air Force, have you ever
eyes open to what?
like do you know guys that go out to Vandenberg at all?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay. Because like for us, like Steve, like for us, like everything, like for you is San Diego, Norfolk. Like usually that's the hubs in the Navy.
It was San Diego and then Bremerton.
Yeah, like for us, that's what we think of. We'll think of Pendleton or Lejeune.
Were you a Hollywood Marine or?
No, Paris Island. I'm in New York.
Yeah, okay.
We all, east of what is that? East of the Mississippi or something. We all go to Paris Island.
And then the West would go to San Diego.
Yeah, they go to San Diego.
Yeah.
No,
I was
Air
over
Force,
there
we
like
trained
2
in
years
Blackwing.
ago. Yeah.
Well, there's some crossover, I think, but I don't know.
I went to Oshkosh, Wisconsin when I was a kid. Like that's how I started knowing about the Air Force years ago. Yeah, Oshkosh.
What rank did you get?
No, I wasn't in the Air Force.
No,
I'm
We're
corporal
ranking in the Marines.
Corporal.
That'd be E4.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Steve? What rank were you?
I was E2, then E1.
Ah,
I really wasn't having a good time there.
I still outrank you both. Good. I was E6.
Clearly, but
no, actually, wait. I take
officer,
it back.
Steve.
I was actually
No, I was
up
enlisted.
to E3, and then
I got
I
out
went
as
back
an
to
E6.
E2.
I did E6 in 6
What happened?
years. You know,
got NJP?
you know how hard it is to make E6 in 6 years? That's damn near unheard of.
Do you know how hard it? Do you know how hard it is just to become an NCO in the infantry? Period.
I'm sure.
You would think it's easy. It's like impossible.
They're all E1s. No, but
Do you know how hard it is to get on Broadway? It's tragic.
It's fabulously difficult. No, I like being
you're
an
not
E6.
getting shot by the time you reach E3.
That's a good NCO
You know what I'm
rank to
saying?
have. Once you make E6, it's a hell of a lot easier. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, you're a staff NCO, like it's chief, right? Like you're petty
No,
officer?
chief or 7. But but still, I mean, even if you weren't a chief, it was a hell of a lot easier being an E6 than it is an E3. I'll tell you right now.
But it's more. They use more common sense on you guys' side, and I know in Pearl Harbor, like you shared a base with Hickam, and we would come from K-Bay. We all party together. And
how long did
I remember going in?
How long would it take to make E6 in the Marines or in the Air Force? Do you guys know? On the average,
the Marines would be the slowest.
Air Force, from what I recall, it was like you generally could rank up about once a year, give or take. But coming right out of training, you might get anywhere from E2 to E. Actually, in some cases, I think there was E4 slapped on some people. It just depends on if you came in with some kind of a special contract or you happen to have some special training before enlisting.
but E6 in 6 years is still probably. I don't think anybody could beat that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's possible to beat that.
That's moving at a real fast pace.
Yeah.
If you're E6 in 6 years.
I don't know if it was. I think it was like after tech sergeant.
That's a meritorious promotion somewhere.
One higher was when things started to slow down. Like you wouldn't just get it like once every year or so.
The only way I got meritoriously promoted in Afghanistan. But then later in life, I got meritoriously demoted in JP. Once I came back, I was a firecracker. We all were.
I was one that actually stayed in. If I was in the Air Force, I would have been called I would have been called a tech sergeant.
I had to work my way back up twice.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's where you either leave or you're a lifer.
I mean, that's pretty bad. How do you go from E2 to E1? That's
easy.
That's a major fuck up.
No, I made a mistake. It was actually E3 to E2 that I went to.
Still.
Yeah, you got a battalion. That means you got a battalion level NJP or whatever you call it, wing level,
NJP,
squadron level.
but why would they? What would I mean?
Well, no, I don't mind. I don't mind sharing it. Like, so
what's for some bullshit?
The big issue for me while I was in is so where they had me. The barracks were like a half-hour to 45-minute drive away from the shop that I.
Don't tell me he hit you for. Did you get a UA charge?
No. I'll just explain. So it was about like a 30 to 45-minute drive to get to the shop. But when I entered, I didn't even have a driver's license, right?
Okay.
And that was the whole thing. Was like I expected, hey, there should be transportation on every base to, that was reasonable for me to jump on and get to work.
Right.
And when I got to my permanent duty station, they were like, actually, in this situation, you're going to have to find your own ride. And on day one, they had me knocking on everybody's door, basically hitchhiking to work. So I had to do that for like
your NCOs from day one set you up for failure. You should have never got charged.
Why didn't you? Why didn't you get a driver's license?
No, I ended up getting a driver's license. The problem is on an E2 income, you can't afford a car.
Yeah, E2.
You could have had $1 million when you came in. It doesn't matter. An NCO, as you coming into the fleet or coming into the wing, the Air Force side, you coming out of boot camp, Lackland, your NCOs, as soon as you got there, it's his responsibility by law, NCO, Whoever was in that
So, no,
position
here's-
should have
here's the thing.
ensured that you had a way to get to work.
This is actually
They fucked.
this is actually a blight on all of the Air Force. Like there are certain
Yes, it is.
there are certain commanders who think it's okay to do this to their airmen and require them to like basically have to either hitchhike every day to work or fork out their own cash for a car to get transportation. They only allow officers to use the base transportation, and they say it's like economically not not sufficient. And it's like they're really just they're financially cheating us. So for me,
I want to ask you something.
Okay,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry,
just to finish up the story of why I ended up losing my rank. So I tried to deal with that. I tried to deal with not fitting in socially either at work or at the local chapel, and everything was just kind of like topsy turvy. I had nobody that actually gave a shit about me. And then I saw like right across the table, there was another tech sergeant who was in charge of 2 other airmen of my same rank. And then I hear stories every week where their boss basically took them out to go paintballing and hanging out and getting to know each other. My boss,
they were a team.
Wouldn't like he didn't. The only interactions I had with him were him blaming me for not being fast enough, which is a whole other inherent problem that I have. I actually have some kind of like not fully identified disability that makes me just generally slower when it comes to like really trivial tasks. So I think it's all to do with me overthinking shit. So then it came to a point where all of that came to a head, and I was just losing my mind. What the real breaking point was when they told me that I was about to get in trouble because I couldn't afford to pay my loan that I got for the car that I never wanted to buy. And once they started threatening me with that, saying we're going to write you up because the bank is telling us you're not making your payments, I started pushing back. I started going, hey, what do you want me to do? Because you put me in this situation and it's unethical and I don't know what you want me to do. So I started trying to climb the chain of command.
You requested mass.
Yeah, and they told me you got to write an essay within like 24 hours and all this shit in order to like be able to do it. And then they started like increasing the work requirements that they gave me, so I didn't have time to do any of that. Right.
Okay.
And it was really, I mean, they weren't really trying too hard to push me down, but they were
doing everything within their capacity. They were doing everything in their capacity.
Let him finish this. You keep him running over him like 10 times. Let him finish this conversation.
I just feel him, man. Like I know exactly what happened.
You're passionate. I know.
So finally, while I'm losing my mind and I own up to the responsibility of this, I got to a point where I just, without even thinking about it, not even wanting to think it through, I went and got myself a dog from like a local pet store. And eventually that dog was found out, and that was like the last straw for them. And they told me, you know what, we could let this go on and end up discharging you because this seems to be the direction things are going, or we can offer you a sort of compromise. Basically, just go see a psychiatrist about on base.
Wow.
About personality disorder, and the psychiatrist just asked me, "Are you stressed?" I said, "Yes," and they said, "That's good enough." And that was the reason for my discharge.
So was it OT? Was it OTH?
So,
it was. Yeah,
wait a minute. How many years?
It was just personality disorder.
Yeah, but
justification.
They call that
no.
Hang on, lived. They call that an OTH means other than honorable. It's not a.
Oh yes.
So you got.
It was general under honorable conditions.
Yeah, general. Yeah, general.
How many years were you in before you were discharged?
3.
Okay, damn. Because if it was less, then it would have been administrative. You could have.
Yeah.
With this though, you clearly.
Well, it's
actually it was technically like 1.5 months less than 3 years.
Hey, don't feel bad. I'll have to tell you something. I have said this before. I got sent to Psych 2 in the military, but it was for completely different reasons, and it was kind of funny. But one of the things that contributed to it, we used to have this prayer we did in nuke school. And it was all in jest, okay? But this is funny shit. And basically, we would sacrifice a calculator to the gods of math. and we would wear like robes, and it would be chanting. It went like this. It went something along the lines of, "Oh yea, as I walk through the halls of power school, I shall fear no nuclear reactor tests. I sign and I co-sign, they comfort me." And then we'd be chanting E equals MC squared. And this, along with other things, the command found to be, they found that to be straight. And we sacrificed the TI-99 calculator to the gods of math and smashing all the fuck. And I guess the command found that strange and unusual behavior. I thought it was funny. There's some other things too, but I mean, yeah. So people, you go to.
Let me ask you, Steve. Does this go on like every year, and they only just found out about it?
No, we started that trend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we started that trend.
I guess it would be weird and unusual behavior.
Yeah, but I love that. E equals MC squared.
Did you hit yourself in the forehead with the calculator after you did that?
No, it's the math textbook.
There we go.
It was called a heat transfer thermodynamics book.
Yeah.
It was it was a red book
Osmosis.
that had classified written all over it. It's all in red, meaning it was confidential. But I mean,
What happened?
Like it's no big deal. Oh no, nothing happened. I mean, they're just like, oh, whatever. This was
no. Like I mean, the other one, like the other Steve, like the Air Force guy. He you got fucked over, B.
Yeah, you got
big
fucked
time.
over.
If I don't know what your current status is, what your situation is, but I can tell you, according to what happened to you, well, I would go into the VA and I would have someone look into it. Like, that's what I would do. I would go into the VA, have someone look into it, and that it's eventually going to wind up, some's going to tell you have to go through.
You can get that converted to honorable at
the
some point,
correctional.
maybe. I mean, it is honorable.
I've
It's
got
general.
I got it changed to like no longer technically general under honorable. It's like officially honorable.
Right, you can do that. Right.
But it's really a matter of like they took back my bonus money, and they took it out of my future paychecks.
You know what? I didn't get any.
They
bonus.
denied me the education benefit. They denied me the kicker. I actually asked for the kicker, and I asked for the paperwork. No, I didn't end up paying for it. I asked for it, and I asked for the paperwork for it, and they lost the paperwork along the way while we were in boot camp, given the option.
So you didn't select to pay for the kicker where they took out, I think it was like $50 or some shit like that?
Yeah, I asked for it. No, I asked for it. I went to, there was a paper that they had us filling out at the end of boot camp saying, you sure?
Right.
Sure you don't want the kicker?
Right.
And I said, well, what the hell? Give me the kicker. And then they forgot about it. They lost
Steve,
paperwork.
You know what I found out? I could have got a bonus. I didn't even realize it. I learned that these are the bonuses that they give. You get $100 for every, or $50 to $100 for every month that you're in the late entry program if you have a ASVAB score of a 93, and I had a
110.
You can't get a 110.
Wow.
GT score, not ASVAB.
Oh yeah. What was your ASVAB score?
Because I think the GT is like, you can calculate from the GT. I don't know how to do it, but I know it's online.
Did you actually take an ASVAB?
Because I had of course, you can't get in without taking the ASVAB.
Do you remember what you got in the ASVAB?
I do not, but I know the GT score was 110.
I don't remember.
So
I don't know anything about the GT.
It's something online. It's like a calculator. You can count back some shit. But I know what you're talking about.
And so there was money there, and plus they're giving like $5,000 to $25,000 like enlistment bonuses, and then my SRB was my selective re-enlistment bonus would have been $125,000. That's insane.
Well, for you, it's a little different as a staff NCO. Well, it's a lot different for a staff NCO. For him, what happened? You have to go through the equivalent of the Navy Board of Corrections. I'm sure the Air Force has one. But what I was going to say, and I got so passionate about what you were saying, kept cutting you off. I could see exactly the decisions your command was making. And I was going to say, have you thought of how, now that you're out as a veteran, you don't see the turnover rate from your officers and your staff NCOs in the Air Force, how that's basically corporate America today? They run the Air Force like that. Literally.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Sorry.
Oh, I get it. The GT is part of the ASVAB, but the GT is the general technical area.
Right.
Knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and arithmetical reasoning. I didn't.
What were you gonna
down like that.
What were you gonna say, man? Well, you know.
So yeah, I was just agreeing with you. You know, the fact of the matter is that so I have a blatant distrust of the officer, the commissioned officer system in general, and that's not to say that every officer is a bad soldier.
Exactly. I know some
The whole
beautiful
thing
ones,
is based in a classification. It's an economic classification system.
It's a caste system.
Yeah, caste system, and it's really disgusting because they get rated on how much they cheat us out of. Like they're motivated to rip me off the way that they did.
That's fucked up. By the way,
here's the thing.
Hey, my GT would have been 151. By the way,
clearly, like you're a physicist.
Because my AFQT, I just looked it up. My AFQT, if you get a 99 AFQT, you can do conversions. For an AFQT of 99, which is the highest possible score, a GT is 151, an MM is 161, an EL is 151, and CL is 141. So those were my scores because I got a perfect across the board.
So, like, what you were saying about how you look at the caste system within that, the only difference is, at least on my side, the Marine side, since we're the smallest ones, and you're more combat active. In infantry, you're specifically combat. The one caveat with us is they know to cut the bullshit because their ass is on the line with us. So when you're in an office, it's different. They can play them games. They play them games with us too when we're here in garrison. When we deploy, you never see them again. They disappear. And everything that is just whatever you want, and they just stay the fuck out of your way. Like, that's the only difference.
I got a 90.
Like, you know what I mean?
I actually took the ASVAB because I just signed up for reserves. I got a 93 on the ASVAB.
That's exceptionally high. You know that, right?
Yeah.
93 gets you anything.
Don't join.
Yes.
Don't.
Yeah.
Do
Oh
it.
my God! When I got a 99, I had everybody and their brother
when
call
I
me.
requested, I remember literally being there and putting down infantry.
I had Navy,
and when I first
Marines,
put 03, it just said 0300. The boxes, you fill them in. And I looked specific. Actually, what I did was I looked for amphibious assault because I didn't know any better. I just thought, as a kid, I thought amphibious assault was the guys that run on the beach. That's what I was just thinking. And when I got there, the recruiter said, no, amphibious assault is actually like, Steve, Navy side, the Gators, the guys that are in the amphibious. I didn't know that. So he said, no, what you want is infantry. And I said, yeah. And he said, why? This is 2004. And the recruiter, he's telling me straight up, he's like, bro, listen. And I, you could tell a lot was going on. And I specifically chose that. He said, you don't got to do that. Look at your score. That's what I want. I opened contract. When I got to the fleet, when I got to SOI, I selected weapons platoon, mortars. That's how it was. And I noticed that our officers play the same games as everybody else's, and the staff NCOs too, but they tone it down with all the arrogant bullshit with us. Because in a couple of months, your ass is going to be on the line. You can't talk that shit, sir, and play them little games when I seen you crying like a little girl, when I seen you running for your life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, Steve,
so they
I
don't
got
play them
something
games.
I want to change this up a little bit. Hey, Steve, you want to hear something funny?
Here, 1 moment. I'm busy with something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll save it. Where'd everybody go? This looks like we're dying out, so I want to get this last thing in before I end this hangout.
I sent you more gold.
I know.
There.
That's why I wanted to talk to him about. I just read it. That's just golden. The fuck is wrong with Shawn? I mean, he's oh my God, he's just full cloud car posse. Nothing he says makes sense.
Okay, I'm back.
He's
Steve.
a retired scientist, so we can't really criticize him. We don't know what he's going through.
Doctor just sent this to me. Okay, according to our friend Shawn, the preeminent retired scientist / nuclear physicist / expert on everything, he claims now that objective moral facts exist because objectively one is higher in value than zero.
Yeah.
How does this both? What? make this makes even remote sense to me. How you can have one is objectively higher in value than zero, therefore objective moral facts exist. Can you parse this line of argumentation to me to get it done?
Is that a probability?
I've tried to explain that or make sense of that before, and because I do use a bit of an analogy to explain moral values as kind of like numerical values, which is like find the value of X. Like, yes, the equation that you have to do to find that value is mind dependent, and the process that you have to go through is mind dependent, but what that X equals is mind independent, so that would be an objective moral value. He is confusing that analogy to think that objective moral values are somehow qualitatively the same as numerical value.
It's stupid. And he calls it an argument from its stupidity. I don't know. And Bennett's logic bomb. I like that. Objective moral facts exist, evidenced by the fact that 1 is higher than 0. So 1 ought to consume 100 sleeping pills over 0. Right? You ought to do it because it's an objective moral fact. Since 1 is higher than 0, you ought to consume. Why even stop at 100? And anything over 0.
Well, it was like Sam and I both ripped into him in the one hangout that you had when we talked about morality with him. And he couldn't really wrap his head around how it is that we didn't accept that moral facts actually exist.
Yeah, you're the kind of the same position of rational nihilist, right?
No.
What?
No.
You're not?
As far as I understand it right now, realistic nihilist, I think you mean?
Yeah, realistic. Yeah, when I say rational, sorry. Realistic nihilist.
Yes. He's a meta-ethical relativist. Whereas I'm a quasi-realist, as is Sam.
I know the nuanced differences. I mean, he accepts it all.
An ethical subjectivist would say that, a moral proposition is true in virtue of something about the subject. Whereas a non-cognitivist and a quasi-realist would say that it's not even a proposition to begin with.
No, wait. The non-cognitivist would say it's not a proposition, but realistic nihilist asserts that all of them are false. He asserts that all moral propositions are false.
He has in the past, but in his most recent one, like with the John the Pirate, who's like really obsessed with rape on Matt Slick's show, he was defending meta-ethical relativism.
Maybe he changes on a dime. I don't know. Shawn won't come in.
I used to think that realistic nihilist was an error theorist before.
One of these days we're gonna have to hang out just over on moral types of positions because they're so nuanced and so confusing. That
it's funny if you go to like philosophybasics.com or something and you go down to like moral anti-realism and you just look at all the various positions that there are and then you compare that to moral realism.
There's moral realism. Right.
3 categories for moral realism and 15 for anti-realism.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that the basic question is there such thing as concrete morals, or is this all just, socially engineered, like cultures, like man-made?
Well, I think there's morals. I just don't know if you can. I don't know if you can put an actual truth or false value to things. That's what I'm still working on. I don't know if it's propositions you can assign those to.
Truth or false, as in.
I believe there's morals, yes, but I propositionally, are they moral propositions that exist that you can put to true and false? That's the question I haven't answered yet. I don't know.
Like, what would be? I hear you. Like, I thought it. Like, but what would be an example, like in your mind?
Moral proposition. Is murder wrong? Is that something you can put as a true or false value? I don't know.
Or is it even the thing that could very well be true or false? Would be another way of approaching it.
But a non-cognitivist would say that you can't even put any position to that, right?
Well, what it depends on the type of non-cognitivism. The type that I approach, the way that I approach it is, when I see something that I see as impermissible, it's almost akin to me stubbing my toe and going, "Ow!"
Right.
That's not true or false.
It's emotional.
It's just an immediate reaction.
Yeah, I don't even like the
some
moral
type of baseline outrage.
I find the moral conversations to be just pedantic, trivial, and non-interesting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was funny because I know enough to know that what Shawn said made absolutely no sense.
Well, it's like it can make sense if you're being overly charitable. And I don't think that even the most charitable person could make sense of that.
Well, it's hard to be charitable with any member of the Clown Car Posse. I mean, they make so many goddamn stupid mistakes. And Shawn is somebody that I've lost charitability with a long time ago when he says things like he did peer review in nuke school. Fuck you, nay. No, he didn't. And then he has the audacity to be in like live feeds and hangouts going, oh, Steve doesn't know what he's talking about. Really? That's why everybody has gone through the nuke program, like myself, and I've known a few of them, have all said you're wrong, Shawn.
Well, you know what? I bet you something, Steve. I bet you a person like that, and they know you know what you're talking about. I bet you they won't get on a live feed with you.
Shawn won't
and
anymore.
Actually, talk about it.
Yeah, Shawn won't anymore. Of course he won't. He got
So,
his ass handed to
you
him.
already
last time
know
he
it's
came in here.
bullshit.
No, he has
Don't worry
ass
about
beat
it.
down because he was talking about shit way out of his pay grade, and he was caught with
That's
his
why
pants
he
down.
won't speak to you in public.
Yeah, do you know what he asserted? He actually asserted that decay rates could change because of the fact that what was it he was using as an example? What was it? God damn it! Damn it! I don't remember what he was trying to assert. I've lost it. He was trying to say that decay rates had changed, and he was using some goddamn stupid reasoning, and I don't remember exactly what it was now. It was
People who don't understand your line of work, they're always going to say, if they're making bold claims and they know they're outside of their quote unquote pay grade, then you already know what you're dealing with. You already know.
I remember one thing he said. He was talking about. I brought it up to him. He didn't know what it was. There's something called K capture, also known as electron capture, which can change decay rates. And I explained this to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I know all about that. I did a peer review on it." I'm like, "You didn't even know what it was 5 minutes ago, but now you did peer review on it. Okay, what paper did you write about electron capture?" And I'm like, there are some things that do have electron capture because of the way the orbitals are on these particular isotopes. Can you show me how K capture is affected when it comes to radiometric dating of carbon or isochron dating methods?
All you had to do is send you a doc.
Yeah, and he
Send
couldn't
you a
find anything.
PDF.
Like that. I was like, so you're.
I don't know where it is.
And they're usually between 0.2 to 0.8%. That's not a lot of variance. Carbon 14 is 5,730 years plus or minus 40. So if you take into account 0.2%, you're still within the margin of error of just in the plus or minus from the decay itself. So how the fuck are you going to say, oh well, we don't know the age of the Earth because, electron capture can change it. Well, it's not going to change it by orders of magnitudes of fucking millions of magnitude, motherfucker. Jesus. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't get these people, man. I just don't understand it.
Nerd dump.
Anybody can have questions, but if you're talking to a person who has questions, like myself, if I have questions about a topic that I'm not familiar with, then you can't approach by making concrete statements. You come with your questions, and when you're receiving the facts from a subject matter expert, then you can take that and run with it. But you don't, just say, "Oh well, fuck you." And so when you see that type, that's what I mean by sentiment. Sentiment. If you don't really even understand what the other person's talking about, and you're already coming wrong and strong, it's senseless to even.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but why would he be arguing that anyways? I mean, he's not a young Earth creationist, but he kind of seems to be affiliating with them. But why would you?
He sounds to me just like, and I've never heard him. I'm just going off of what I know of you and as you describe it, and I trust what you're saying. It sounds to me like this is someone who just wants to argue with you. Like they just want to oppose you. They don't really want to argue you. Like they won't come on like now. They won't even get on your hangout like even now. Most of the people that talk shit, they will never.
I called him out, and he actually had the balls to come into my hangout and respond to the criticism, and he was wrong across the board. And then I thought things were fine, and then he went back in the Concord posse and started reiterating the shit that we already disproved him on. I'm like, wow, dude, that was quick.
He pulled the WF on you.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, we've already addressed these things, and you're already spewing them again, and we've already explained to you why you're wrong on them, and you've admitted you're wrong.
He pulled a wrestling move on you where you beat him down and he went back and told everybody he won.
Yeah, now he's just going over there and, oh well, yeah. I've shown Steve to be wrong. Really? Really? When did this happen? I missed this.
No.
So real quick, what was the funny thing you wanted to say?
Who?
You, Steve. You said there was something funny you wanted to say, but
I already.
got distracted.
We were just talking about it. Did you hear Shawn's moral proclamation?
I guess I missed it.
He said, let me see if I can find it again. The doctor sent it to me. He said that there are basically he said there's objective moral values because there are objective there's objective numerical values. So since 1 is objectively higher than 0, you therefore have objective morality.
Something's objective, therefore morality must be objective.
Yeah, figure that one out for us, because even the doctor had a hard time going, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, no, that's just the outright non sequitur.
There's two different kinds of objective morality, and it drives me crazy, because there's the kind where it's like it is wrong to lie, and it is wrong to do this and wrong to do that. But then you've got the Sam Harris type of objective, which is based on the outcomes, right?
Yeah, that's what Ozzy. I think
means justified.
Doesn't Ozzy argue that
The more Machiavellian route.
Ozzy argues for objective morality from that position.
Yeah, and I mean you can if you look at it in terms of well-being.
Yeah, I've heard him say the same thing before.
A similar thing. Ozzy's position is slightly different than those two. Ozzy takes a neo-Aristotelian approach.
Yeah. There's so many nuances, right? But I mean, to me, actions are nothing if you're not looking at the consequences, right? That's what really matters.
Some consequentialism going on.
Yeah.
No, I think I agree with you on that particular thing. I think you can have objective morality if you're looking at the consequences.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is basically like we have this idea and we have this word that is moral and we attribute it to things, and it's trying to get down to, are we all trying to refer to the same thing? And if so, what is that?
Well, and I hate that people use the word objective, because there are definitely two sides of the camp, and they're using the words completely differently, right?
Well, there's like 16 different ways that the word objective can be used in the topic of ethics. So it is incredibly frustrating and confusing.
I find it to be mental masturbation. Again, I'm not a big fan of the moral discussions, because as Char had pointed out, and you did as well, there's so many goddamn nuances that it's just too tedious for me to really get into it, to learn these fucking different positions, because there's so goddamn fucking many of them. I get a general overview and I'm done.
Yeah, that's pretty well. Essentially what you need is a general overview.
Well, clearly Shawn doesn't, if he thinks that because
he knows shit.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, is he way off?
He tried arguing with Ozzy once and tried reducing Ozzy's virtue ethics down to preference hedonism. And it's like, that doesn't work. Ozzy's argument is that there are biological facts about us as individuals, and we can be the best of our species. There is some ideal that we could reach, and that is an objective state we could reach. And he thinks that that's just, well, I want that, is what Shawn.
So he actually states there's an objective state of being for an individual to be the best.
Is that
best about?
It's not as if it exists now. Like, if you were to reach a state of eudaimonia, where you have lived the good life, and a life well lived, you are in that state irrespective of anything that's idiosyncratic of you, basically. Now, you are in that state irrespective of what you happen to think about it, what others happen to think about it. You are
Wouldn't that be
the
Aristotelian?
person who has achieved the well-lived life.
But that sounds like Aristotelian to me, though.
Well, Ozzy is a neo-Aristotelian.
What's the difference between Aristotelian and Neo? I mean, Aristotle basically, he promoted, right, that some of the more reasons to have it be moral is about living your life, a good life, right? Was that Aristotle?
Virtue ethics is concerned basically with focusing on developing good character, and if you're a good person, the good actions will necessarily follow from that. And in Aristotle's case, the reason why it's neo-Aristotelian is because Aristotle thought that you had to have a god to give you this purpose. Whereas now we understand that there needn't actually be an end goal. We could just have an apparent function or an apparent purpose and have a teleonomic function.
I got no problem with objective morality if it exists, but what I get upset is when people try to say, I think Sharp points this out, that you're trying to say objective morality exists, i.e. God, and that you don't have to have a God to have objective morality. But I've read things before saying that the only way objective morality could exist if there's a deity, and I'm like, I don't see that. How is that? Why is that?
Because they're referring to the actions, not the consequences.
So they're just
right. The only way that lying is a sin and lying is wrong is if it's transcendent and given to you by God. as a rule, right?
Correct.
So if when people are talking about objective morality in the sense that thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not, do these things, those are like transcendent rules. It's almost not even like, I think Matt Dillahunty says that's not even morality. That's simply a list of rules.
You're just essentially a moral robot at that point.
Right, yeah,
doing whatever you're programmed to do.
But if you're abiding by somebody else, so let's just say some other being's moral code, let's say in this case a deity, then are you really being moral? You're just following the law stipulated by them, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
There is a particular view where you could have absolute principles that bind, that are hold across all circumstances, that you can reason yourself to. And essentially they're grounded in reason. It doesn't matter if they come from a god or if you reached it yourself or if you were informed of it by someone else. They just apply across all circumstances. Right. And that's just deontology.
Hey, by the way, get some likes on this video. We only have one like. What's wrong with you people? James Bond, nobody knows who this Greg Loucks is. I don't give a fuck who this Greg Loucks is. I'm just showing people that if you watch the beginning for the first 5-10 minutes, that you don't have to be scared of these people threatening to flag your channel. If they flag your channel, there's a way to fight it. I am. And I will win. I've documented things, and I can show that there's no violation of terms of service. Don't back down to these people. Again, if we back down, we lose. And this person got triggered because somebody else by the name Greg Loucks I was referring to, and he like, you can't use my name. I'm like, well, first of all, according to you, you're not the Greg Loucks I'm talking about. And second of all, you still used your name, Greg Loucks, to comment on my video. What a dumb fuck. Which, by the way, he deleted his comments, but oh well. I screenshot him. So that's who Greg Loucks is. This is basically a fuck you video to show that I'm not scared of these people and that I know I will win because I document things and show that I did not give any violation of any privacy concerns. The only information was given on this person was his screen name. That's not privacy.
Someone's trying to flag your channel?
So, yeah, well, he did. He did worse than flag my channel. He actually filed a formal complaint for privacy violations.
Like you giving out personal information.
Right, but I only used the person's screen name. No, I didn't use their image. I didn't use their social security number. I didn't use their bank account.
Well, they saw it. They didn't
nothing. Just their screen name.
But clearly, like YouTube saw that. They didn't penalize you, right?
Well, it takes 48 hours to get resolved. This has only been a day.
Well, they're going to see that. They know.
Oh, I sent him a nice little email. I documented.
That's like what a troll does. Like people do that every day.
I took Hogtie had said before, this is what you do if this happens. I didn't even need to reach out to him because he said what you do, and you basically respond. You show him the documentation. You show him, hey, here in this video, this person used their screen name on my comment section, and I'm just responding to the screen name that was used on my video. That's it. That's not private.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. But like I said, the thing is that they say, okay, within 48 hours, if you don't delete the video or change it, then we investigate. And I'm like, well, here's investigate it.
Investigate. Yeah.
I will not back down these people. I run a controversial channel because people get butthurt easily, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and I mean, if I started backing down to one, I'm going to back down to them all. That's not going to happen. So unless I made a mistake, unless I know or think that I did commit a violation, then I'm not going to back down to anybody. And then, like I said, if they flag me twice, that's considered to be harassment because that's showing a pattern. And if he flags this video and says the same thing, I will report him for harassment.
That's what you call intent.
Mm-hmm.
Ironic. That's what you call intent. That's ironically where I was going to make a comment earlier. I said truth really needs no advocate. Like truth doesn't need much of an advocate. Like people will see it. You'll be fine with this.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried.
I don't think you're going to have a problem.
No, I mean,
I think
first of all, he has to demonstrate that there was private information being released. What private information was released? We used his fucking screen name, the dumbass. And it wasn't even him. He's supposedly this guy that reported me. I was like, wait a minute. If this isn't you, then you can't report me because this isn't fucking about you. You cannot report somebody on behalf of somebody else. That's
what they call standing.
Yeah, that's in YouTube's policy. You can't do that.
You have no standing. It's not you. You don't got no dog in the fight.
Yeah, he has no standing to bring about an action. Right. I took law. I took law in college, believe it or not. Only 1 year, one semester, but it was good. Easy A. It was called Law in the Business Regulatory Environment. I
to me, what made
it.
law so easy was common sense.
Yeah.
And I didn't even learn that until later when they said the reasonable person standard.
Well, I like
Common
the fact
sense.
that even you know as well as I do, they'll give you cases, right? And they only give you little snippets about the case. They don't obviously give you too much detail. And
Right.
if you do happen to get the judgment wrong, right? A lot of times they don't tell you what the judgment is. Obviously, they just say, what would you do in this situation? Even if you argue the case incorrectly, if you argue the case well in essay form and you get the judgment wrong, the actual judgment of the case, you get credit. You get full credit, matter of fact. And so I actually had A's on, I think, everything I wrote in there, even though I got the actual judgment wrong because I articulated the argumentation well enough that the instructor was just like, yeah, you made a very valid case. However, in the actual case, this, and this, which they don't tell you.
Right, because you don't know what the actual shit is.
Right.
They're just looking at your reasoning capability.
Yeah, it was a lot on tort laws. It was a lot on easements. Things like that. Liability.
Most of those things. See, that's where people get frustrated because that's where the fuckery begins. Because the reason why you got the easy A because any, even in a test form like that, a little class like that, every essay that you write, any summary, whatever, it's always persuasive.
Yeah, it's persuasive.
It's always you're trying to, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when you did that, you showed what a reasonable person would think or do under similar circumstances. And because your argument was reasonable, your professor was like, good to go. Now,
that's why in YouTube I'm a reasonable person, and I'll fight this as a reasonable person.
Right, and you find out that, like they say, common sense ain't so common. People love to be assholes. Like they look you right in the face and tell you today the earth is flat. They do it all the time. But in tort law, where you started to get to that point, when it pivots, when it pivots and it goes towards commercial interests and just regular tort and shit like this, which is anything, any type of lawsuit, rent, landlord, tenant, whatever. When it gets there, that's where you learn that you can think something reasonable and see something reasonable, and still it goes the other way. That's where the fuckery starts, where you start playing some man shit and the law twists. If you notice, in criminal law, that's not so much the case because of the stakes are raised. What's
the adage though?
That's why people, whenever you say lawyer or you say law to most people, scientific people like you guys, anybody, the first thing you think is something slithery, malicious, snake-like. Because of that.
If the facts go against you, argue. If the facts goes against you, argue the law. If the law goes against you, argue the facts. Right?
Yeah.
That old adage.
That's the shit that piss people off, and they're right to be pissed.
But anyways, guys, I think that this hangout's going to come to a close. We only have a few people, and our viewership has gone down. But anyways, I want to thank you guys, and I'll let you guys know in a day or so what YouTube response is. They have 48 hours to investigate, I guess, or at least 48 hours for me to take down the video, which obviously I'm not going to do. And I'm actually using this, and I did show in this particular video that he did use a screen name. So I just again want people to know that I do not take kindly to people trying to flag my channel, and I will fight it tooth and nail. And if people do it more than once, I will try to have them banned for harassment. So I don't fuck around. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. I probably will have an after show on Tuesday for TST. Today's Sunday, right? Yeah. Okay. So maybe tomorrow, but I doubt it. Probably Tuesday. Okay, guys. So I hope you guys have fun. This was fun. This is cool. And I'm going to go play some All Points Bulletin. If anyone wants to join me, just message me on Facebook or G+. It's not a hard game to get into. So it's a shooting up game. Like, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto. That's all. But you go against.
What is it called?
Called All Points Bulletin. It's a free game. I mean, you guys, it's pay to play. I mean, it's you can pay to have like skins and stuff like that, but for the most part, the game's completely free.
It's free to play, but like all games that are free to play, eventually you're going to have to pay to win.
Yeah, it is some pay to win, but I'll tell you what, if you do get really good, you can still have a lot of fun with it just by having free game, just by getting some of the higher weapons that you can commercially get in the game. I do pretty well.